You know, you're not wrong. I do need to update the slideshow. That's pretty much, at this point, just waiting on the next big photo day. I do it, I kind of go in waves, you know? When I'm actually completing models, which, holy crap, guys, this year has been terrible for me actually getting paint jobs done. I've been streaming for 2 years now. Those of you who were with me for the first one know that was a decently productive one for me. It wasn't my most productive year of painting, but it was a fairly productive one. This year has been, well, you know, it's just all my time has been so divided between everything I usually have to do over the summer, and then I've been doing lots and lots of 3D sculpting. And as it turns out, if you try to do literally everything, the amount of work that you do in any one category starts to suffer a little bit. But we're gonna be taking a run at some speed painting in the new year to try to bust our average up a little bit. The good news is I've really done a lot this year. But yeah, we will get a new photo op done. Some of those older ones I need to update because they have the full logo in white on them with Thunderhead Studio. I tend to just do the watermark of the logo itself and not the name. And I do it a little bit more subdued now. It's actually kind of hard to believe how much has happened over the course of the last year. Like, it's easy to lose track and feel like, oh well, I haven't done much this week, so I haven't really done anything. But going back to January and looking at all the sculpts that we've done, at all the paint jobs that we've done, all the BattleTech terrain that we've made, it's been fucking huge. It's been a big year. Oh my god, Thunderhead Studio was nothing. Was nothing, and relatively speaking, still is nothing compared to some others out there. But you know what? We are more than we were. God, what a redundant statement. Why do I say anything most of the time? I don't know. How's everybody doing today? Hope y'all are having a good day. Just need to polish off some minis. Yeah. I've got so many projects that are right on the cusp too. Project Dark Fox, Data Nerd, Kursala. What else we got? There is To Square. Good to see you, my friend. Ren Momo, welcome in. Oh yeah, those are my Eternus Continuum figures from Warcaster Neo Mechanica. Well, one of the only full forces I've actually gotten painted up this year. I'm working on another faction for that right now, and a new set of bases for Warcaster, as well as some terrain for it. I have way too many projects that are like from half to 75% done. I am a shameless procrastinating, like in MMO terms, I'm a wild altaholic. Like, let me start this thing, it's an amazing idea. I'm almost done, but I got this other idea, let me start that too. Oh my god. Out of control. WJ Roland, good to see ya. Hamburg Tack, and thank you for saying so, Hamburg. Yeah, like, I don't know, I'm not, part of the reason I'm doing this stream and continue to do it is I'm not very good at, God, Data Nerd, if I could convince my fucking doctors of that, I know that I do. I was diagnosed with ADD when I was a youngster and got put on Ritalin for a good long time, and then that just sort of faded out and I got off it and I went out into the world, and my family's always had kind of a stigma against illnesses. They're the sort of like, doctors cause more problems than they solve sorts. But I'm like, at this point in my life, I'm starting to think that getting back on something like Ritalin or Adderall might actually help me. I don't know. I'm always reticent to like go drug seeking to the doctor, you know? I never want to be that guy who's like, hey doctor, I know everything that's going on. Here's all my symptoms. Give me this drug. But, you know, I don't know. And I go to the VA a lot these days, and they are not terribly interested in diagnosing anything of the sort. You tell them, like, hey, I've got these symptoms. I feel like I've got this thing. They're like, you're just distracted. Walk it off. Here, have a Motrin. Like, oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm sure it'll work itself out. I guess the good news is that when I get focused on something, I get hyper-focused? I don't know. We're learning to ride the snake, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, let me have my mug of coffee here. You know, WJ, I've actually, I generally speaking have very, very good VA service. I've been very, very lucky. I've lived most recently near the, what was it called? Vamsey? Vamsey is here. That's the VA Medical Center. Brooke Army Medical Center, Vamsey, down in San Antonio, Texas. I live near there. Now, if you're on VA healthcare, there are a lot of places in the country you could live that suck, where you don't really have access to any good doctors, and they don't want to refer you to anything, and the healthcare facilities are few and far between. Living in San Antonio, you get amazing healthcare through the VA. Just unbelievably good healthcare through the VA. They have a huge facility there. They've got the Wounded Warrior Project there, like everything. And like every single specialist in that city is rigged up through their referral system, so it's really easy to bounce around in there. I live near Denver now. And just before I moved here, they built the new, I think it's called Eastern Slope Vamsey. It's just VA Veterans Affairs Medical Center. A huge new medical facility. And like I said, I've been very lucky because I actually get really good medical care there. It is a massive facility. They put so much money into it. And they have a huge number of specialists. And I generally am pretty happy with what I get there. But yeah, no, WJ, if I lived almost anywhere else, I would have moved over to mostly private by now. It's you know, there are just places you can live where you can get really good medical. It's sad to me that it's so, not quite luck of the draw, but uneven, you know? Yeah. Apparently what we need are massive contracts for completely unnecessary fleets of insane fighter jets, helicopters, and new ships. Vastly more than we need to take care of the people who, you know, fuck themselves all up in the Forever War. There's a subject I'm not going to get into. Yeah, clearly. More tanks. How you doing today, Pun Expected? It's good to see you, man. Cha-cha-cha. We're going to be painting some bases today. I have a bunch of new bases that I just printed up. I'm going to be transferring my Men-at-Arms that I've been finishing on stream here for a little while from their original bases, because these ones, they're good, but they had some problems. And it's weird, like, I procrastinate a lot, and every now and then I find something where I'm like, wow, I'm glad I procrastinated on that thing, because it took me a little while to come around to a version 2 on these interlocking magnetic trays. And it just hit me, and it's perfect timing because I'm getting done with this unit, and I didn't waste a lot of time painting these bases. It wouldn't really be a waste, they're perfectly good bases, but I made some changes. Two things happened. I made some changes to the basic unit. I thickened it up, I changed some of the dimensions so that it prints better and it works better. And I also got a fuckload better at applying textures. God, this is just the experience with 3D sculpting, isn't it? Because I did these and I was like, I'm so happy I did this texture and it worked really well and I put all these things on it. And then I came back and looked at it yesterday. I'm like, I can see so many problems. And it was like there were just 2 or 3 settings I didn't know how to use that would have made this so much better. And now I know how to use it. And so I'm like, let's do a version 2 of this, and let's go ahead and do a few more base styles at the same time. And I'm going to be releasing these all kind of at once, but we're going to be painting up some of these cobblestone bases, which I'm calling Old Market Road. I've done something kind of fun with these, and I'll show you guys as I paint them over the course of the stream. Texturing unit trays for rank and flank games like Conquest is not that straightforward, particularly when you're doing something with a pattern. I don't like the bases where details cross over the line between tray and base. So you have like one stone and the line between the tray and the base cuts it in half. So then when it rotates, it gets offset and everything looks funny. So you can't just texture these. You kind of have to come in and do the texture by hand and choose things intelligently so that they don't cross over that line. So these have taken a little bit longer to do, but I've done them in such a way that I've left... There's cobblestone on a lot of them, and again, we'll get a closer look at this in just a minute. And I've left some of the corners and sides bare, so there's just a dirt texture. And the idea here is that when you're building a unit, like say you've got 2 trays, you can put 1 tray on one side. Where's my hands? You can put 1 tray on one side so that there's dirt here, the other tray on this side so that there's dirt here, and then what you have, if you'll humor my awful visual aid when I could just show you the bases, which again we'll do in a minute, you have a road. You have a nice cobblestone road with some dirt on either side. If you do the same thing and you put one in the middle that is entirely cobblestone, you have a wider road. If you do one that has dirt in the corners, you can have like a diagonal, and it's the look of the whole unit. At that point, it looks like you have a unit of guys and they're walking down a road as opposed to just in an amorphous field of cobblestone. This is the theory anyway. I'm going to get them painted up. I'm going to get them put on the bases. We're going to take some pictures. We're going to see if it looks any good. This is one of about 4 base sets that I'm working on right now, kind of utilizing my new ZBrush skills. I am profoundly jealous, WJ. I know I say it every time it gets brought up. I miss Tex-Mex so much. Oh my god, I can't tell you how much. We have like one place within an hour of me that does decent Tex-Mex. No, 2. We have 2 places. It's not really... Okay, let me take that back. There are 3 Mexican restaurants within an hour of me that I don't hate. 2 of them are not really Tex-Mex style. They're more... I don't know, Colorado does something weird with its Mexican food. It's all like weird Southwestern fusion stuff that overly complicates things. These guys are the better end of that. And then there's one place that is still not Tex-Mex. I think they're kind of more like Southern Californian style, but they have a number of Tex-Mex. That one place, it's in Commerce City. And it's in like a really sketchy part of Commerce City. Like there's big iron bars on every single shop within miles. There's an industrial plant right down the street. This is where everyone comes to get lunch. No, they do not roll it. Thankfully. They'll do that at the place closer to me, and I'm just like, stop, don't, please don't do that. They have a place right next door, a Chinese restaurant, who I think the name of the Chinese restaurant is $2.50 rice bowl. Either that's the name of it, or they just don't have a name. Because that's all it says on the signs around it. $2.50 rice bowl. That's the name of the place. Maybe it's just the only pertinent information that you need to know if you're going to eat there or not. I have personally not chosen to yet. But, anyway, that place is pretty decent. I like it. It's clearly run by someone's, like, sweet old Mexican grandmother, because she's always in the back. And they have a bizarre number of dishes. Like they have, like, Tex-Mex stuff, and then they have, like, some Southern California mission-style stuff, and then they've just got, like, some straight-up American dishes, and then they have, like, one Greek dish mixed in there, and I think it's just, like, someone opened up a restaurant, and their grandma does the cooking, and this is just like, what does she know how to make? That's what's on the menu. Because I can't think of any other explanation for some of the menu items. The Chinese place, I have no idea, Kursala. I will never go into that place because I wouldn't have gone into... It's called Mama's something. Mama's Burritos? I don't know. Something like that. I just know where it is. I would never have gone in there just driving past it, but I saw an advertisement online, or I saw maybe somebody on Facebook was like, hey, this place is really good. So I stopped in, and I'm like, yup. I'm a little worried I might get mugged every time I go there, but the burritos are good enough that I risk it periodically. I know, what's funny is I know another Chinese place that's kind of like that, where it's in a really sketchy part of town. Like, I go in and I sit down and I eat and I look out the window and I'm like, oh, look, some gang members clearly gang members hanging out front. Maybe I'll wait for them to leave. But the food is so good. So good. It's unfortunate that they can't afford to move. Hey, how we go? What did we agree on? What did we agree on last time? Was it Johnny? You'll have to bear with me. God. You'll have to bear with me. I will remember the name that you want to be called eventually. This is what you get for just hammering your forehead on the keyboard when they ask what you want your username to be. Was it Johnny? Was that it? Because we can do that. I'm fine with that. I know a lot of Johnnies. Who doesn't know a lot of Johnnies? That's a ridiculous statement. It's like saying, I know a lot of Tims. Of course you do. Everybody does. Maybe the gangs are there for the food too. Maybe it's not a bad part of town at all. Maybe it's just it's good and affordable enough that the gang members are like, I would like to go get some Chinese food. Let's go down to this place. It's possible. What's funny is it's only like 3 blocks away from my sushi place, and it's amazing. It is amazing how much things can change one block to the next, because the block the sushi place is on is perfectly fine. It's off a main thoroughfare. There's not really any seedy element. You go 2 blocks, you get to the Chinese place, seedy as fuck. I'm sure that a smarter man could analyze this and figure out what the hell's going on there. Johnny, I'm so sorry to hear that you're having an awful day. Dude, you know what? I've been having a shitty day too. This is me having a shit day. Just lack of motivation. Oh my god, you guys. I lost 5 fucking hours of work in ZBrush. 5 hours of work because I messed with my autosave settings at the wrong time. I didn't reset them, and then I continued working, and then I had a crash in the middle of a quick save, and I lost 5 hours of... I actually made 4 more of these fucking bases and some little scatter bits to go on top of it, and they're all gone, and I've got to redo them all tonight. I've got to redo them all tonight after the stream. It was so demoralizing. It was one of those losses where you're like, you should just keep going right afterwards, but I'm just like, I can't. I like, it's gone, and oh my god. I have to take a break. I have to step away. I went and I played Anyo 2070 for a little while. Speaking of which, has anybody played Anyo 2205? Because 2070 was good. You know what, Johnny? Johnny, you don't have to apologize for anything, man. You don't have to apologize. And you don't have to explain. You don't have to explain yourself to fucking anybody, bro. Take a breath. Relax. Enjoy the stream. Paint some minis if that's what you got. Focus on just being for a little bit, man. I feel you. I absolutely do. I have bad fucking moments. I've had a couple of them today. This has been a really, really stressful 2 years, man. I don't know if it's directly related to that for, like... Because, you know, we all... It's like we forget. The last 2 years happened, and on top of that, we also have our own lives, which are difficult anyway. So it just exacerbated everybody's pre-existing issues. Every single thing that is normally wrong in your life is a little bit wronger right now because of the fucking world. And I've been around on this earth for long enough right now to tell you that this has been a particularly bad 2 years. So, be kind to yourself, okay? You do me that favor, Johnny. Be kind to yourself. The world's a son of a bitch, man. Just... deep breaths. We're all gonna be okay. I mean, you know, over a long enough period of time, we're all gonna die. But, you know, for right now, we're all gonna be okay. Relatively speaking. Just 2070? Annyeong. Oh, thank you, Pun Expected, for that. Yeah, I played a lot of 2070. I picked up 2205. I still haven't loaded it up. I don't really... I've heard some people say that it changes things for the worse, but I saw it's like, you can settle the moon. I'm like, that does sound like fun. Anyo 2070 is a really, really fun game. Roland, you can, though. Be excellent to each other. And then I need the sound effect so I can do the air guitar like Bill and Ted, right? I do it about as well as they do, because I don't play guitar, and all they really did was waggle their fingers when they did the air guitar. I don't think they were doing actual finger movements. I don't know, though, because I'm an incompetent asshole with no musical abilities whatsoever. Don't make any promises, Johnny. You don't need to make promises, man. You don't owe anything to anybody. And that's what I'm saying, like, even just your language right now. Think about that. You're saying things like, I can't promise anything, I'm sorry. Stop apologizing, man. You don't have anything to apologize for. You know what's something I like to tell people when I feel like apologizing, when I feel like saying, hey, I'm sorry I flaked on something. I'm sorry I haven't done what you want. When I find myself tempted to say that I'm sorry, I use a different phrase. I say to people, I appreciate your patience. I appreciate you being patient with me. Because, like, the psychology of how we speak is pretty fascinating. And you can really hurt yourself over the long term apologizing too much, taking too much blame on yourself. It can be not just indicative of the way that you think, it can also shape the way that you think. It's why I encourage you to never say bad things, even though I know I do it, I try to stop. Don't say bad things about your own painting, your own work. Because if you say it enough, it can become true in your mind, which is the only place that it matters. If you say enough, even jokingly, even just, self-deprecating humor, we all do it. It breaks the ice, it eases the tension. You say enough, I suck at painting, I could never do that. Ha ha ha, yuck, yuck. Eventually you're going to say it, and some part of you is going to believe it. And that hurts. That will keep you from actually doing good work, is just believing that you can't. Believing that you don't. Don't believe that. Don't believe that about yourself. That's bullshit. Think about how you speak. Think about the words you're using. Try to change the language. Try to change your mind a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, Data Nerd, I've used that one on you. I've said that to you guys, particularly my mods, on a number of occasions. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for being patient with me. It's helped me. I think it's a good shift. Take it easy, Johnny. Tell you what, man. Nobody here expects anything out of you. Here, in this chat, right now, nobody here expects anything out of you. Not one goddamn thing. So just chill. Take a load off, man. We're just stoked to have you. I love this song. I wish this could be like the soundtrack to my life. What is this? What is this? Malibu Groove by Brandon. Well, Brandon, I like your style. You're getting a thumbs up. It does. Malibu Groove sounds right, doesn't it? It sounds like a Malibu Groove. Speaking of Malibu Grooves and sounding right, Dr. Rhino. How you doing, man? It's good to see you. Welcome in. Can we get a shout out, by the way? Pretty please. For Dr. Rhino, what is there to say? What is there to say? I say a lot of stuff. I say a lot of things. Sometimes I don't say things. Like 5 minutes ago, I didn't thank Colonel Matthew Steiner for resubscribing. Despite the fact that he's been subscribing for 17 months. I didn't even thank him. And that's terrible. What is even wrong with me? Colonel Matthew Steiner, thank you so much for the follow and welcome in. It is always a pleasure to see you. Hey, you guys. And then we got Hamburg Tack dropping 2 community gift subs. Oh my god, Hamburg Tack, thank you so much. Does Dr. Rhino use a stone rhino? He likes to use a cosmic rhino, is what I understand. What a jerk. I mean, yeah. Pretty much. Speaking of being a jerk, is it just me or can Jennifer Lawrence not act at all? Hey, controversial topics. I don't really have an opinion. Oh my god, this latest episode of Doom Patrol. It may have been the most absurd thing that I have ever fucking seen. It may be the most absurd thing I have ever seen. For Godarong, welcome in. Arkudaki, it's good to see you, my friend. Hamburg Tack, really, thank you so much for firing out those gift subs. Who got him? Noob Corpse, relatively new viewer, glad to have him. And Time Stop, oldie but goldie. Almost done with my coffee, then we're going to go ahead and get started. And the Storm Report will be closing around the same time I finish my mug of coffee. I'm going to estimate less than 5 minutes. Probably like 4 minutes. I haven't watched any more since the last stream. Wait, did I? No, I haven't. I am really enjoying Matthew Lilliard in Bosch Season 2. Terrain! How are you doing, my friend? That was the newish hobby facility / annex working out. I'm fixing it currently. I don't even want to explain the problem that I had because it's so fucking... You know what? I'm just going to tell you. There were a couple of small problems, but the biggest problem I had, for some reason, my USB 3 PCI expansion card in the motherboard in my second streaming rig is like 10 years old. Doesn't have any USB 3 slots. I need a USB 3 slot in order to have this camera right here actually run. It's too much. It's too much for a USB 2. Oh my god, Riot Sister. Riot Sister dropping that gift sub. How are you doing today, Cat? It is always a pleasure to see you. See, there you go, Johnny. You got yourself a gift sub. That's, you know what? Hey, the tiny victories, man. We gotta seize them. I don't know how I ran the card without a driver, but there was no driver installed the last time I turned on the PC, so I'm like, fuck, okay. So I go online and I go to the manufacturer's website. They don't have the driver downloadable. I'm like, ah, shit. Okay, well, it came with one of those tiny little CD-ROM discs. Let's put that in. Let's put it in the thing. Let's install the driver. You know what I did? When I installed the new solid-state drive in that thing, I remembered it as soon as I went to put in the disc. I pulled the SATA cable out of my DVD-RW and plugged it into my new solid-state drive, thinking to myself, I never use the DVD drive, why would I bother leaving it plugged in? Which is a whole lot of words when I could have just said, I'm kind of a dumbass. Fuck. That was just so stupid. Oh my god. Henotic Mom, welcome in. How are you doing today? It was... So it's one of those where I'm like, I know what the fix is. I've just got to crack the case open and do a few things. I felt so dumb. What was worse was realizing this in front of... Yeah, Vergaderung... Yeah. Either that or I'm just going to plug it. I think I'm just going to put another SATA cable in there. Literally the only reason I didn't do it before, I have a case of SATA cables in my closet. And I didn't bring an extra one out with me when I went to put the drive in. So I was just like, I'll just use the one from the DVD-RW drive. It doesn't matter. I could have just brought a cable with me. So we're going to fix it. We're gonna fix it, and then it should all be working. And yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit more tweaking on it. I gotta change the door. That is one problem that I'm having right now. Is if I start a stream at 5 p.m. like I usually do, the sunlight is gonna blast my cameras into oblivion. So I gotta take the door off and put on a new door. And I'm thinking it's gonna work. It's gonna work. I'm thinking no more than another. I should be able to get this all done inside of the next week, and then I'll put down a board game, and we'll just try playing a board game for our first attempted game stream. It's just going to be a tech test, and then, you know, that's not a bad idea, Data Nerd. And then Hethrir is going to be back out again. I think, okay, we're kind of 50-50 on our Thanksgiving plans right now, but if all goes well, Hethrir will be out here for Thanksgiving and we'll be able to stream a few games, if all goes well. And then, assuming that goes well and there aren't any other major issues, I'm going to try to start doing this once a month so we got a nice community gaming stream going. This is the plan. No plan survives contact with the enemy. We'll adjust as we go. The year is almost over. And then we get to look forward to a weird 2022. I'm planning on doing some cons next year. I'm looking right now at LVO and Gen Con. So if any of you fine people are planning to go to LVO or Gen Con, please let me know. And I am the end. God damn it, Colonel Matthew Steiner's like a gremlin sneaking out into my game room, ruining my PC. Could do curtains, too. There are other reasons that I need to change the door for Gotta Run. It's... there's a lot of little issues with it, so the answer is replacing it is easier than making small fixes. Oh, yeah, Rodan, I saw you sent me some pictures. I haven't had a chance to look at them yet. Well, you're all just full of amazing ideas, aren't you? I guess I could do a curtain. I could do a curtain if I also put on a storm door. I'm updating houses and buildings that were built like 90 to 100 years ago. I guess 70 to 100 years is the range for all the construction out here. So it's like every single time I do anything out here, every single time I install something, or I cut into a wall, or I go to mount something, I discover some fresh new hell because Billy Bob put this place together with like hand-forged nails 100 fucking years ago. But he's just got back from Origin, still not in the headspace to be around that many people. I understand that, Dave from Voltari. I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to get into it. Trying to get into it. Also going to be doing Genghis Khan here in the Denver area. I don't know if anybody's going to be making it out to that one, but it looks like, oh, it's a square. Oh, God. Oh, no, man. That's, oh. Oh. Yeah, around like mid next year is going to be the first time that I feel comfortable being around groups of people for the most part. I guess Wasteland Weekend was pretty good, at the very least. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's do some work. Why don't we? Storm Report closes in 5, 4, 3. Oprah smash! Oh, fire bad. How's my hand go in the glove? Here we go. So we're going to be doing some acrylics tonight because I'm doing basing and I want to do some dry brushing, and acrylics are the way. I'm going to be doing 2 different things tonight primarily, and then maybe a little bit of work on my men-at-arms. I want to get my cobblestone bases painted up, primarily. And I may do some work on Vergaderung's... Oh god, excuse me. Vergaderung's Hexes of Vegetation for Battletech, because I have a whole bunch of these that need some work done on them. We're just gonna wing it, you know? Not too much of a plan tonight. We got a lot of little stupid procedural things that need doing, so we're gonna sit here and we're gonna work on them. And hopefully get some stuff done. I got all these men-at-arms here that we've been painting up. I'm going to be transferring these guys to the new cobblestone bases. Oh, Vergaderung, they've all come out wonderfully. Once I figured out to use supports, that is, there is one change you could make to these trees to make them print supportless nice and clean, and I think they'd still work well. But it's such a minor change that I'm like, he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. Alright, got my wet palette out. I need to put a little primer in here to get the spots that my fingers covered up when I was spray priming earlier. Where are my brushes at? Here we go. Oh, I don't have any water. I've been doing oils for like weeks, and I just realized like my paint water has evaporated down to this. Ugh. Ugh. Pun expected, this whole fucking tray is done with oils. I'm doing my bases in acrylics, man. The one thing you can't do with oils is dry brushing, and I don't want to spend the time on these. You know what? I'll just tell you, Vergaderung. So, with the way these plugs are built, if this surface were drafted 30 degrees, it would print without needing supports. Like, instead of being flat across like this, if it were 30 degrees, tick, 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 like this. Not this piece here, but this piece here. If that had a 30-degree angle, then this would print supportless and it would still slot down into the... You'd have to make the base match as well. 30 degrees is the magic fucking number, guys. 30 degrees is what a printer can handle. Let me just real quick, I'm going to throw down some primer on these edges, and then I'm going to run and fill up my paint water and grab myself a beer. That's my plan. That's just because these are the spots my fingers were touching when I primed them with my airbrush. Scooter, splitter. Are we just saying random words? What's happening? Oh. We'll get you a hover round, Roland. Those look like fun, don't they? Look, if Roland gets a fucking mobility scooter, a hover round, I want one too, okay? I probably don't, like, need one, but I just want one. I'm not gonna be left out. Rascal race. That's probably against... If we rent them, I'm willing to bet that you have to sign something saying you won't do that. And it's definitely going to be a rental for me. I ain't buying one of those. Hover round jousting was a thing in the nursing department in college. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. You give young people something like that, the first thing we think is let's joust on it. See how I just said young people and then said we? That's how I feel less old. That's a good idea, really, Crossbow Roof, because, yeah, I've done a lot of conventions, and by the end of it, I'm very much ready to fall the fuck over. I am definitely... No... Sheza. I am many things. I have been called many things in my life, but a boomer? Never. That's fair. That's fair, Data Nerd. I shouldn't say that I'm old. I'm just getting to the point in my life where I'm like, whew, okay, well, clock's ticking. Got to get out there and do some of those things I said I was always going to do, and not just say always say I was going to do them. You know what I mean? Got some European trips to take. Of course, the last few years haven't exactly been great for travel, have they? Been taking Centrum Silver since I was 16 years old. Osteoporosis ain't going to creep up on me. How you doing today, Sheza? How's things? Is that true, Data Nerd? I mean, it's the American Association of Retired Persons, is it not? So you could just be like, yeah, I mean, I'm 20, but I retired. How? None of your business. Make me a member. Been up for over 24 hours. What the fuck are you doing here, Sheza? Go to sleep. Or are you just, like, pushing through the second wind right now. I know how that can happen. There's a point I hit, I learned this while I was in the military, a point of no sleep when I get to around 24 hours where I'm like, well, now I have to stay up for another 12. I got that second wind, I can't fall asleep now. In 12 hours, I will hit the fucking ground and I will sleep like crazy, but not now. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Sheza. I was hoping it was something more fun than chronic pain. That is unfortunately something I can sympathize with. Thankfully, mine generally doesn't keep me from sleeping. What keeps me from sleeping is just my generalized insomnia that I've had since I was like 22. That's fun. I like that one because I can't even go, it's because I'm in pain. No, it's just because my brain's like, fuck you, we're not sleeping. Would you rather sit here and worry about 9,000 things that you can't change? Because I'd rather do that. Brain's an asshole. Is today one of those days? Is today just a bad day for everybody? It seems like we got a lot of people in chat who are having a shit day. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. If you're one of us out there having kind of a crappy day, I'm with you. I've had a rough one today. I was saying earlier, I lost about 5 hours of work in ZBrush that I couldn't get back, which was really, really frustrating. And a number of other factors is just kind of... But, you know, this is me carpeing the DM here and trying to at least get a little bit of work done. Painted Ogre dropping that resub. Been here for 16 months. Almost old hat indeed. How do the numbers keep on going up? Painted Ogre, how are you doing today, my friend? Alright, I should cover those. That's not a problem, Sheza Gaming. That is exactly the way things should be. Exactly. I didn't get to do this earlier for Riot Sisters, so I'm going to do it now.
Hello there.
Alright, give me 1 second, guys. I need to get some paint water and grab myself a drink. I'll be right back. And we're back. Pardon the delay. Alright. Oh my god. Yeah, more rivers. I think this is the last piece of the rivers that I'm going to be painting right now, and I've got an epic painting session ahead of me. Now, that is something, pun expected, maybe interested in hearing, that is something I'm going to try oil paints on, because it's all those, it's all, you know, flowing water texture. And I feel like if I just filler primer the Christ out of the top surface, I should be able to get some good-looking blends in oil paint across the whole watery surface. I think that's going to be easier than trying to do it in acrylics. I think. We're going to try it on one and see how it goes. Forgot wrong. That's just, you know, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. Filler primer and 3D printing have an interesting relationship, and I think that if you, as the designer, are smart, you'll design things in such a way that there's this Goldilocks zone of detail that I keep trying to hit with my... Oh, there's another note. Those of you who enjoy Trinity City and Hextech, playing Anyo 2070 has given me so many fucking ideas. I'm bursting at the seams right now. But that's beside the point. There's a Goldilocks zone, a sweet spot of detail on 3D printed terrain, where your detail is deep enough and sparse enough that it still looks good, but if you just hammer it with like 3-4 coats of filler primer, you don't want details that are so shallow or so fine that that's going to obscure them. If you make them kind of extreme, then they can survive the filler primer, and if they survive the filler primer, you can actually get really nice smooth coats out of it. I've much more lean, because I'm a lazy asshole. I don't like spending a lot of time, like, sanding my 3D printed terrain before I paint it. I would much rather have something designed in such a way that I can just prime until the lines are gone and then paint at my leisure. So that's kind of what I do. But, yeah, no, Vergatorang, I don't think you could have done it a better way. Honestly. You'll see. We're going to be doing the Rivers of Hex here on the stream in the near future. You'll see what I mean. Yeah, I don't sand shit. I don't sand any of my 3D prints. I don't want to go over everything that I have in the pipeline right now, WJ. I can say one of the next big things coming for Hextech is an HPG station that I have been pondering for a year, and I've gone over, I think, 6 different designs for it that have never quite come together. I have one now that I like.
I suppose you could just go
that
ahead
I like quite a lot. Johnny, you have a fantastic day, man. Please, for the love of God, try to have a good day. I'm sorry you've been having a bad one so far, man. I hope that it gets better. I hope you can find some little something to hold on to. How you doing today, Casino Reeds? It's good to see you. Yeah, WJ, I've already discussed this with Alex, too. I think the next, outside of expansions to sets, I'm thinking the next 2 actual new sets for Hextech, like the next 2, you know, like we got Trinity City, and we've got the industrial sector. We need some more industrial stuff, but the next 2 expansions are going to be kind of a fringe colony. The idea being that I'd like to have more pieces that are combination of natural rock formation hills and hard surface technological pieces. We're working on some bits like that. And there's also a train that goes with that one. Not an itty-bitty train, but a big fucking train. And the Hyperpulse generator is going to be an expansion for Trinity City here in the next little bit. I have a design for that it's going to be one piece that you print 3 of and then arrange together, and they create the... You know what? I finally landed on the design. I'll be able to show it relatively soon, and I think you guys will like it. And the other thing I'm kind of dancing around right now are wet docks. And I'm not 100% committed to this yet, but I've got some ideas for some things like oil and drilling platforms, docks, and ships. And I don't know yet if I want to do them. I think that you could do them by simply putting down like a piece of... The big challenge with doing water is always like, so I got my hex mat. How do I indicate that there's water here without just putting down like a piece of blue felt? The other thing you don't want to do is print a bunch of hexes of water and then cover a quarter of your board with it. I don't quite have an answer yet, but it's something that I'm kind of circling at the moment. Kind of circling. What are we talking about? Same shit. Same shit as always, Ren. Oh, yeah, no, that's on the list for, not for a new set, but for an expansion to the Industrial. Because we've got Industrial Fluid Works. We need to have some other... Because Industrial is essentially the name of that set, and then we're going to have different categories of it moving forward. I'd also like to do some more pieces for the Aeroplex. Lots of concepts to work with. Lots of concepts to work with and endless work to do, so why don't we get to some of it, eh? Where's my base brown? Not you. Oh, it's been a little while since I've gone into my acrylic paint rack. How foolish. Where's my dark skin tone? I love using that as the basis for my dirt. Where is it? Why am I not seeing it? That's not it. That's not it. Where the fuck did it go? Oh, there. It's literally sitting right in front of me. Yeah, it is on my desk, Data Nerd. Thank you. So, Trinity City Farms, Roland, is something that I've been kicking around in my head for a while because it's one of those things where I have a hard time making it a full level. But I want to start making some rough terrain pieces for Trinity City, and agricultural stuff like farms and then like trailer parks are my two ideas for rough terrain. They're going to be nice short pieces that don't actually indicate a level, they just indicate rough terrain as you're moving through them. It's interesting you say that though, because I do have a few designs for farms at the moment. You can do vertical farms pretty easily, but you lose some of it. I also think I found kind of an interesting way to do wheat fields. I need to prototype that and see if it's going to work. I have some ideas for how to do it in such a way that you can have things like 4 to 5 millimeter little like wheat standing up, but then have all the places where the base rests high enough that when you put a model on top of it, it won't crush it. We'll be prototyping that. We will be prototyping that. Forgot wrong. No, my paint rack is it's the color wheel, and I was looking right where it should be, and it wasn't there, and it literally was not there. So, all right. Thin this brown just a little bit. And then I'm just going to slop it on all the parts that are going to be bare dirt. And let that dry before I come back in for some dry brushing. And we're going to do some cooler tones on the cobblestones themselves. I like using this dark flesh tone because it's a warmish dark brown tone. It's a good base for dirt. We have ostrich farms, ranching, since that was a fine... Oh, yeah. That's not a bad idea. That was something else I was thinking was for kind of like an industrialized... like livestock processing facility. Set up in such a way that similarly there's a lowered area so you can put your mech on top of it, and then having like some little pigs or like little ostriches that you can print out and put in there and paint if you want. Like you could leave it blank or you could put some animals in there. and then have it designed in such a way that you can still stand on top of it without standing on the little animal models. You guys know playability is an important factor for me. If it ain't playable, I'm not interested in it. Need to make a Gasland skyscraper diorama. Fuck yeah, go for it. The mech pilots use performance-enhancing drugs in canon. Oprah smashed. I mean, I think it depends on the faction. I don't know that it's ever been explicitly stated. It probably has. Maybe Word of Blake. Word of Blake did a lot of cyborgization to their mech warriors, which kind of counts, I guess. I don't know if they've ever. I'm sure someone in chat is gonna think and be like, oh, there was this one time that Karita jacked their pilots up with super drugs or something. I don't know. I'm sure it's happened, but it's not necessarily common practice. So you can kind of see here how there's a lot of stone texture on this side, and then this side is blank. Once I get some color down, you'll see how this can all go together to kind of look like an actual set of roads. This is the theory anyway. We're testing it. If it works well, I'm going to continue it. I mean, you know, there's the entirety of the clans where they genetically breed their warriors to be superior or some shit. That probably counts. Where's my little squeezy bottle full of water? Why isn't it in here? There it is. It's the one that says H2O on it. Refresh the old wet palette there. Does this tune remind anybody else of StarCraft? Because every single time I hear it, I'm just like mentally, I'm dropped right back into StarCraft. Arkudaki, you get some sleep, my friend. Thank you so much for stopping in, even if just for a bit to say hi, dude. You take it easy. Get you some sleep. I don't know, I feel like the soundtrack, the like Frank Klepacki soundtrack from Command & Conquer was more active than this usually. But there were a few tunes on the StarCraft soundtrack that were kind of ponderous like this one. I think it's like the synthy bass notes, maybe, is what does it for me. What reminds me of StarCraft in particular. I'm wondering about how I'd go about making a Gaslands rooftop skyscraper diorama. You know, rooftop sets, like terrain sets, it's something that's interested me for a long time. I've never quite figured out how... Like, there are a lot of ways you can do it. I've never quite figured the way that I love. The way that would really get me to try it. I thought about building a board like that for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Like, make a board that is the top of Avengers Tower or something like that.
I know you're really focused, Thunderhead, but your camera is not.
What? Am I out of focus? Really? Oh, my face... Oh, I was like, what the fuck? Why is my camera doing this? Maybe it's not out of focus at all. Maybe I'm just blurry. You ever considered that? better. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, exactly. See, Pun Expected gets it. Oh, Merlin Models, thank you so much for the reminder. How you doing today, Merlin? How's life treating you, my man? Hopefully not too bad. Well, it seems to be taking a crap on a lot of us lately. Life, that is. Oh my god, Vergata wrong, dropping that. Oh, over to Data Nerd, thank you for that. I was just saying that the other day, like, with the way Twitch works, it gives our bots a subscription automatically, but you still have to pay for one for mods. I feel like they should give the subscription benefits to all mods regardless, but, you know, that's essentially saying, hey, Twitch, you should give away something for free that you normally charge for, and then, I mean, they just laugh you out of the room at that point. Thank you so much for getting that taken care of, though, Vergata wrong. If anybody should be able to use our commands, it is. Maybe I can set chatbot so that it's subs or mods. Data Nerd, would you do me a favor? Because you're very helpful in this way. Would you send me a message on Discord so that I'll see it after the stream? That just says, check to see if you can enable voice commands for mods specifically. Because it's very possible that Streamlabs chatbot will let me do that, and I just haven't done it yet because it hasn't occurred to me as an issue. Finally seeing the upside. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff I need to sort, but I'm getting there. Dude, oh my god, I feel you. I feel you, Merlin, one day at a time. One step at a time, one foot in front of the other. That's how we get it done, man. Gotta walk before you can run. Sometimes walking can get a little boring, but we still need to do it. So I don't know if I've shown you guys, or how many of you have seen these bases I made before. I'm sure that I'm going to show off this feature again later. These are bases for Conquest: Last Argument of Kings. They're designed in such a way you can see their magnets set into each of these slots. This is an overall unit or regiment tray. You connect, I guess it's just a stand in game terms, which holds 4 infantry models. You connect the stands together to form regiments of different shapes. The thing that sets mine apart, and the reason that I made these, ultimately for myself, but they will be available, is not only do they have the magnets on the top that let you take the individual model bases and snap them right down in, nice and clean, but they also have these puzzle piece magnet connectors in the bottom. They don't come with magnets, Oprah Smash. You do have to get the magnets and put them in, but they are sized so that you can 3D print them or order them as physicals with the slots there, so all you have to do is glue the magnets in. So in the bottom of it, there are these little puzzle pieces, and then there are these 3D printable puzzle piece connectors. They look like this. So you go like this, and that locks in. You're like, I need to attach another unit over here. Oop. That locks in just like so. And you put them down on the table, and you can move them around as one unit, and they connect really nicely. They have a little bit of flexibility to them. You can actually lift one and not have a disconnect from the other. I really like the way these work. Wizardry! Fucking magnets, how do they work? Gear Falcon at that tier 2 sub for 17 months. Gear Falcon, thank you so much for the resub. Thank you for your support. And guys, not just our subscriptions. Thank you everyone who has resubscribed today. It is always a pleasure to just get that little reminder that you've been here that long and you want to keep hanging out with me, it is always a pleasure to have you, but I want to make a big thank you also just for everybody who's hanging out in chat. You know, I know that we enjoy streams, sometimes we can sub, sometimes we can't. I want to assure you all that subscribers are not why I'm here. I love the support. It makes it possible to continue justifying the stream and to continue growing and expanding, but more than anything, I'm just glad that you're hanging out and chat with me today. Oh, shit, Discord, you caught me slouching. Riot's sister, thank you for the community sub, and then we got Amateur Paint Hour dropping another community sub. Holy hell. Oh, that one went out to Jarrett's Terrain Minis. Jarrett's a good dude. I like him. I don't see enough of him. He's been busy with life lately, I think. Wonder if these bases are correctly sized for the Lord of the Rings game. You're talking about Middle-earth strategy battle game. It does not use unit trays. These ones are kind of specific. You could move them in units. I think these bases are 1 millimeter wider because the Lord of the Rings ones are 25 millimeters. These ones are 26 millimeters. So I think they're 1 millimeter larger. Trying to paint with some oils. Found some Windsor at the store. Gear Falcon. Fuck yeah, dude. I'd love to see the results. How are you liking the oils so far? They take some learning. But if you just keep messing with them, eventually you'll pick up the muscle memory you need to do it quickly. It's definitely different. It's definitely different. Hang on, Rodan and WJ are talking about something I want to see here. Multiple rooftops connected, kind of like a slums area, and have some bridges and stairs going up and down, different levels of roof. I like these ideas, Rodan. A lot of them are complicated to... There's definitely, for me, a point at which the intricacy of a piece of wargaming terrain... Like, there's a ratio you have to achieve of coolness to practicality. And there is a point at which the cool factor overwhelms the practicality. And I stop myself at that point. There are many, many awesome little things you could potentially do with a lot of these terrain pieces, but there's a certain point, and it's really hard to define, where I'm like, yeah, but I'm not gonna do that. Because now it's a pain in the ass to set up. Now it's a pain in the ass to store. Who is it? There's a guy on My Mini Factory who makes a bunch of 6mm scaled stuff. I can't remember what he's called. He makes, like, he's made some cool little favelas and slums and desert-style buildings and stuff. And they're great. They're fucking fantastic. They're super intricate. They have all these little details, these little air conditioning units and radio towers you can put all over them. And he's got, like, he's painted little cables and stuff all over. They look amazing. And I look at that and go, I would never use it. It looks amazing, it would make a great diorama, it does not make a great piece of game terrain. At least not for my purposes. There's always a little bit of a balance, a little bit of give and take there. Gus Schultz, welcome in. Also, Mafik, how are you doing today? Make it 12x12 rooftop buildings and interchange them. For Batman, only need 9 of them. That's a good idea. Oh, are we talking rooftop board? I was thinking Battletech terrain. If you're talking rooftop board... Okay. In that case, I like where your head's at. And yeah, if I was going to do a rooftop board, I would definitely make it kind of like interconnected islands. Maybe with one that's particularly large, and then you get yourself a mat that just looks like, you know, in the distance there are streets, and be like, if you fall off, you're dead. Everything. The floor is now lava. You know what I mean? I like the idea, though. I like it a lot. We might do something like that in the near future. Trinity City Streets is a project that I had intended to have further along this year, but I've only been puttering along on it for most of the year. Oh. I need a fucking secretary. I need somebody to keep me on track. Too many projects. Too many projects, which is why right now I'm trying to just pick one and get it done. Yeah, Lazy Forger, but I was talking about something else if I got it wrong. I was confused about the subject. His stuff is amazing. His stuff is incredible. I love the design of it. I would personally never use it. It's too much for my tabletop. My fundamental problem with boards like that, because somebody did a board like that for Star Wars Legion. Earlier in the year, it was a Geonosis table, which if you imagine a Geonosis table would be very similar to what you're describing, like Gotham City rooftops. My fundamental problem with that is that what you're doing as a player when you make a board like that is you're saying, all right, so let's take 30 to 40% of the board and just say we're not going to use it. And then let's confine ourselves to these very narrow alleyways and junctions. And while it seems like something that gameplay-wise, you're like, cool, I'm fighting across the city streets, what it ends up being when you actually play the game is, oh no, I'm funneled into only 2 options, none of which are good. And if I get trapped in the middle of nowhere with no cover, there aren't any tactical options I have available to me. We're just going to stand here and roll dice until somebody rolls higher. That has been my experience with tables like that. So I sit and I wait and I think, how can we do better? And I haven't come up with the answer yet. That's why I like the idea of saying, okay, it's a skyscraper rooftop building and making it all one big building. The whole table is one big rooftop with a lot of different details on it. I like that more than I like a lot of little rooftops, because again, you're just confining yourself at that point to all these narrow alleyways. Sounds cool, but you know, that's the truth of a lot of wargaming. And now, that's the funny thing, too. That doesn't mean that terrain wouldn't sell if somebody made it. It would sell like crazy. People would jump all over it because the idea sounds so cool. But there are a lot of things that sound like they would be awesome to recreate in wargaming that, due to the nature of how wargaming works, actually just sucks to play. I've been through too many of those maps. So, like, this is a great concept. This is going to be so neat. And then you start playing it and you're like, oh, all we're doing is just rolling dice over and over again, not making any meaningful decisions, and eventually someone's going to roll more 6s than the other person, and then they win. And that's no fun. I don't like that. Like a shanty town. Yeah, you could do it lower, so that you could move between the streets and the rooftops. Make like some favelas. I don't know, it's an interesting idea, Rodan. Back in the day, I was going to make a War Machine board that was the top of a dam. That's another one of those where I'm like, man, that's a tricky one. Because the top of a dam sounds really cool to fight on. It can just as easily be, oh, we're fighting in a narrow alleyway, and there's nowhere to go. I've thought about it, Merlin models. I have certainly thought about it. Used to be, last year, every Thursday was a gaming stream for a while. We did that for a few months. Could pick that back up. I haven't played Space Marine since we streamed because I've been thinking, like, you know, if I'm going to stream it again, I want to pick back up from the same place. I do want to beat it. Yeah, that's the trick, ultimately, for Gadarung, is you have to, instead of saying, well, okay, take 50% of the board and we're not going to use it, you have to say, like, let's take 10 to 20% of the board and say we're not going to use it, and confine ourselves along the edges and then make the surfaces really, really large and give ourselves lots of places to go. This is ultimately the trick with terrain that is too intricate in general, and why I don't get on board with a lot of the crazy Kickstarters where it's like, it's 38,000 1,000 files, and you can combine them in 18 bajillion ways. Little tiny pieces you can connect to make anything you can possibly imagine. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm having a hard enough time imagining what colors I'm gonna paint my fucking force. And you're asking me to imagine an entire city and then logistically plan out how many thousand versions of part A subsection C I need to make to build that fucking thing? Just give me a goddamn building that I can plop down in the middle of a board and stop making me think. I hate those things. There's one that, hate is a strong word. They personally don't work for me. There's one, like, right now that's out on Kickstarter. I think their campaign just ended, called Flatline City from Saucerman. It's an amazing looking set. Like, the board that he built as an example, like, this is objectively amazing design work. They're super talented in the way that they built it and everything. And I look at it and I'm like, no fucking way am I ever using that. Just no fucking way am I ever using that. Oh my god. But that's me. And that's just because I am a player. I think a lot of people get lost in building dioramas and don't really think about what that means for playing the game. And that has just, I've personally been through too many scenarios in my life where people have built these complex, awesome looking boards, and you go to play on them and you have the worst game. You have the worst, most boring, least interesting predetermined game because of how complex the terrain is. Making terrain that both looks good and creates the kind of generalized large play surface you really need to have a good game is very difficult. Too much terrain, too many alleyways, too many solid walls, it dictates the flow of the game. And to a degree that's good. To a degree you want to do things like create blocked areas and firing lanes and everything, but if you do it too much, every game you play is going to go the same exact way. I've never played Infinity, Painted Ogre. I know they use a lot of terrain in that one, but here's the thing. In Infinity, you're moving individual models. It's more of a skirmish game, right? On a skirmish game, the rules are different. And this is exactly what I'm saying. You have to tailor your terrain to the game that you're playing. You really, really have to tailor it. And this is why I actually, like, everybody likes to make generalist terrain, and why I tend to veer more towards specific pieces of terrain for specific games, because one piece of terrain isn't always going to work well for every single game. Not always true. There are some designs that work well in everything, but sometimes you want a specialized piece that just works well within those particular rules. That's why I like things with flat roofs. That's why I like things that can connect together modularly or stand on their own. Well, and that's what I'm saying for Got It Wrong. And I don't blame people. I understand it. And if you're this kind of person, don't feel like I'm coming at you. I'm just saying we get so lost in the idea of, oh, we're playing the game and we're going to have this amazing cyberpunk battle in this factory with these fucking awesome assembly lines and crazy. And then too late you realize, oh, these assembly lines mean we can only fight in 3 alleyways with no cover. Oh, this game is boring. Fuck. Oh, no. These are not oils, Gear Falcon. I'm just dry brushing today, so I'm just laying down acrylics. It's one of the reasons I do the textures on my bases as heavy as I do, is so that I can dry brush them easily and still have them look good. It is nanotanks. In fact, this is nanotanks, and I think you knew that you were doing this. You just landed on one of my big points when I talk about wargaming. Which is why I say that realism is a terrible argument for game rules. Realism is the worst argument for game rules you can possibly have, in my opinion. When people say, yeah, but it's realistic. Put that out of your fucking head. You know what realistic is in the context of most of what we do in war games? You know what a realistic firefight is like? Firefights, for the most part, are fast and violent. And if they go well, in big air quotes, one side is dead within seconds. That's a good firefight. Real firefights often don't drag out that long. They often don't, and obviously there are exceptions to this. Obviously there are things like pitched battles or tough scenarios with people trying to take ground where nobody moves for a long period of time. But most close-in firefights, like the kind we simulate in a war game, are over like fucking that. Because the way you win them is you have superior positioning, superior numbers, and the element of surprise, and you just kind of end everybody really quickly. That would be a realistic firefight. Realistic terrain generally favors the person who had their choice of positioning in the first place. And you don't want terrain that favors anyone. That's exactly my point, Ren. Just put realism way out of your head. Just way out of your head. Because realism has fuck all to do with wargaming. The only thing you can accurately simulate with wargaming is strategy, not really tactics. You can get kind of close in the case of some systems, you can get decent tactical simulations, but for the most part you get strategic simulations. Ever played Advanced Squad Leader? Very realistic, but takes an hour to find out a rules situation. See, that sounds miserable to me. That's the other thing. If you want to make it really realistic, you can write endless rules for it to simulate things, and you're just gonna bore me for the most part. I'm here to play games, guys. I have not. I have not played that, by the way, Gus. That's the thing about, like, one of the reasons I enjoyed Bolt Action when I played it. I moved away because I don't really enjoy historical war games. But, like, I like the way damage is done in Bolt Action, because it's just like, oh, did I hit you? Okay, you're dead. Because we're simulating a world where everyone has rifles and everyone's wearing fabric uniforms so that they can move around quickly, and body armor isn't really a thing. So it's like, it doesn't really matter what kind of weapon you have unless we're talking about hitting armor. If you get shot, you're down, because you're a human being, and that's what happens. You take one fucking bullet, and you're pretty much down for the count. Are you dead? Are you just disabled? It doesn't matter. You're not fighting anymore. But yeah. Realistic environments, factories, alleyways, arrangements of buildings are not designed to provide fair, balanced, competitive experiences. In fact, most of them aren't designed to fight in at all. So if you make things too realistic, you're just going to make shit not terribly fun, in my opinion. And the point of this, lest we forget, is to have fun. Oh, Bolt Action is a great system. It's one of the reasons I like Beyond the Gates of Antares so much, because Beyond the Gates of Antares is just Bolt Action in space. They add in a few extra stats, they make the game a little bit more interesting with things like armor values and weapon penetration values because they got space armor. But other than that, game system's pretty much identical. Oh, I'm sorry, I must have missed it, Merlin. Hang on. Historical war games are usually not realistic either, just use things that tend to look realistic and have units inspired by real ones. You're absolutely correct, Nanotanks. Like I said, you can get a decent strategic simulation out of war games. You can't really get anything close to a realistic tactical simulation, though. Even in Infinity, it's way over the top. I think I must have missed it, Merlin. Would you post it again? I never played Star Breach. I don't think I've ever heard of Star Breach. Usually when people mention a game, I've at least heard the name someplace, but that one is entirely unknown to me. It's a blown-up assembly line, so entire sections open up and belts are just occasional cover debris. Yeah. You want things to be nice and open, you want to be able to move from one piece of terrain to another, you want to have multiple options for what direction to go, a couple of things that lock you into limited movement directions, because that makes it interesting. You want everything that you do in a war game, you want that to be a decision that leads to other meaningful decisions. There might be a piece of cover that's particularly good, but in taking it, you limit your options for egress, you limit your mobility to just one or two directions, so you get a defensive bonus, but your opponent knows that you have limited options after that. This is a good piece of terrain. But you don't want every piece of terrain to be that, because then your decisions are just made for you. But it's like when people build boards that are... It has 9 levels on it, and look at all these walkways. It's like the fucking Ewok village. I'm like, that looks like a nightmare to play on. Like, every time you do anything, you're like, how high is he? How many levels up do we go? Where are the ladders? What are the... It looks like fun until you're actually having to make decisions about how to move around on it. Environments like that are more fun in video games, where all the crunch, all the calculations are done by a fucking computer. When you aim at a target and it goes, you can't hit them, and you don't have to know all the factors relating to why you can't hit them, the game says you can't, and that's it. Complex environments work fine at that. On the tabletop where I have to know what's going on, and maybe I'm at a convention and I might have other shit to do that day, I lose interest. I agree on that, though. Yeah, have the assembly line be, like, blown in half and have some debris or something so that you've got, like, multiple long pieces of cover and then an open area with some pieces of cover around it. Like, yeah, okay. I'm on board. I really kind of enjoy broad terrain design and terrain theory and game balance, you know? These things interest me. Otherwise, they don't interest everybody. I fucking love XCOM. Oh man, XCOM, I have wasted so many hours in every single version of that game. I played XCOM, what was the first one called? UFO Defense? I played XCOM Apocalypse, I played Terror from the Deep. I really liked XCOM Apocalypse. I think that game gets more shit than it deserves. I played the terrible first-person shooter. I played XCOM Interceptor. You can see paint some Infinity figure rolling. You know what? I've given you my info on that one, man. As soon as they have a starter set available entirely in their new resin, I'm all over it, man. I love that shit. It's amazing. Enemy Unknown. Yes, yes, yes. Now, Enemy Unknown, that was the Firaxis reboot, was it not? And then XCOM 2. And Enemy Within was the expansion. I love all those. The new ones are particularly good. They're certainly more fun generally. Don't get me wrong. Once you learn how to play UFO Defense, it can be a lot of fun. It's still a brutal bitch. The kind of game where sometimes you send out a whole squad of dudes that you've really kind of taken a liking to, and the first thing that happens is the door opens and a muton throws a grenade inside and your entire team dies, and you're like, whoa, there was literally nothing I could do about that. That's XCOM, baby. Yeah, I love that shit. And by love that shit, I mean I have fond memories of it, but in truth, I would rage quit at this point. I actually take a lot of cues from the XCOM-style board randomization, Merlin. It's funny you mention that. I saw that, Vergatarum. What I didn't see was Walter's workshop lurking there. How you doing, man? How's things? We're working on some new bases over here. Gonna be doing all my 100 Kingdoms in these new Market Road bases. Old Market Road is what I'm calling it, because it's kind of like a shitty cobblestone. So we got our base brown put down. We're going to want to wait just a few minutes for that to settle in on here before we start dry brushing, but I'm not going to wait too terribly long. I'm going to do one round of dry brushing on that, and then I'm going to give it a wash to darken the shadows, not waste a whole lot of time on it. In the meantime, I'm going to start doing that same color brown on these trees. Not going to do all of them, but I'm going to get started. How you doing, Phaedros? It's good to see you too. Walter's Workshop, by the way, if you're not following him already here on Twitch, one of my favorites. One of my favorites. There is a little cadre, if you will, of painting Twitch. You know, there's a lot of painters here on Twitch. There's a whole lot of them, and I'm just gonna ramble for a minute. You guys mind? You mind if I just ramble for a couple minutes? I can do that, right? Particularly if you're getting started painting here on Twitch, people are gonna say network, 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 and networking, I believe, is important if you want to see growth, to a degree. But something I've learned in my time here, and Walter, please feel free to chime in, is that you don't necessarily get along with every painter. Just because they're here painting on Twitch and they're popular doesn't mean you have to be their friend. Doesn't mean, like, their community might not be right for you either. And there's a lot of painters here on Twitch that I just kind of like, yeah, you know, I like what they do, but they're not, yeah, we don't really vibe all that much, and that's fine, so we each do our own thing. Walter's Workshop, though, this is one of the reasons I want to get together with you, man. There's a few painters here on Twitch that I've really connected with that I consider, I don't want to say like we're good friends because, you know, we met on Twitch, we haven't met in real life, maybe we hate each other, maybe our personas get along, I don't know. But there's definitely a few of you out there that I've really connected with and that I consider to be kind of friends of the stream, and I like to think of our streams as sort of running in tandem. And Walter's Workshop is one of these guys. Walter's Workshop, Steel a Rebel, Dr. Rhino, Sheza Gaming, Vergata Rung, like, there's some streamers on here that I really feel pretty tight with. And I know that there are some of you in chat who I didn't name in that. Don't think that I dislike you. A number of you are newer, and I think it's only fair to mention that as far as being close goes, we're still on kind of a like wait-and-see sort of basis. Consider a lot of these people to be sort of really promising kind of up-and-comers, people with interesting personalities and a lot of talent that I'm really enjoying watch grow. Just on TSB is definitely on that list. I'm trying to think who else. Merlin Models. Like, Merlin, you and I haven't known each other very long, but I love what you do, man. I'm excited to watch you do more. There's a tendency here on Twitch to just be like, I'm friends with everybody, everybody's amazing, everything is incredible. I tried to avoid doing that because I don't ever want to, you know, bullshit anybody. I don't want to blow smoke up anybody's ass. I always try to be honest and realistic. Oh yeah, fuck that Kursala guy. What a dick. Kursala, you don't stream, man. I was talking about streamers in particular. Everyone want to do the Dragon Con thing? Don't worry about a hotel. Shazza, that is a very generous offering. Thank you. Oh, Riot Sister, you're an actual friend of mine. You know, I didn't think of including you in that because Riot Sister and I have literally been friends since fucking high school. We played Magic cards, for fuck's sake. Yeah, Dr. Rhino's good people. I think it's fair to say, though, I mean, you know, just as far as... If people ask me sometimes for streaming advice, first of all, don't ask me for streaming advice, I'm not that good at it. Secondly, though, I just, you know, don't network with people that you don't really get along with. I feel like the community kind of encourages you to do that just because you're hunting for views. There's some really, really popular streamers out there that, I don't know, I just don't vibe with. We're not really, don't get along all that well. Our communities have some crossover, but I'm like, There's nothing wrong with that. We're not all gonna be best pals, you know? And then there's jabronis, like Walter's Workshop, which is really what I started talking about this for, to note that I'm really fucking serious when I say that Walter has an amazing stream that you guys should go check out. It's one of my favorites, and I genuinely try not to recommend anything on here. Any other streamers, any other streams that I don't really believe in. There are some people out there who are very good that I don't like watching. I won't really recommend them for the most part. When I'm recommending somebody who's brand new but shows promise, I try to note that. I don't say they're the most amazing stream ever. I say, man, you know what? They got a good stream. They show a lot of promise. Give them some love. I guess mostly I'm just rambling about the fact that, you know, those of us who interface with the whole internet influencer culture like we streamers do, it's so easy to just become completely full of shit. And I'm already full of shit enough without phasing into the weird, like, toxically positive Twitch streamer, Instagram influencer version of positivity. Magic. The true test of friendship. Data nerd, no. Pun expected. I think pun expected, you're a good example of, and again, just being totally honest. Pun expected is a good example of someone that I got turned on to relatively recently, and I think is pretty fucking awesome. Really enjoy watching the stream. We have some common interests. And I think that with some more time, there could be kind of a stream connection there. I don't know. Defining stream friends is an odd thing. I'm still sorting out the parasocial relationship, you know? Can't stream lack the stuff. When it's meh, just paint my little soldiers and mechs. Phaedros, you know what, man? That's what it's all about. That's all I really want my stream to be, is something that, in the simplest terms, you know what I want this stream to be? If you're sitting there and you're thinking, maybe I'll paint, maybe I won't. Kind of feel like painting, but I kind of don't feel like painting. I don't necessarily have shit to do that I should be doing other than this, but maybe I'm not in the mood. Maybe I'll just play a video game instead. So you're sitting there and you're thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with the next few hours? And then a little notification pops up. Thunderhead Studios live. And you make the decision. You go, you know what? I'm going to paint. If I can do that for you, that's really all I want, because that's what it does for me, man. Phaedros, these are for Battletech. These were all done by Vergaderung, and a really great job he did on them, too. So that was my ramble. I hope you enjoyed it. Full of shit enough in the day job to need to do that in my off time. Yeah, right? Gotta know the feeling. And guys like Walter and I, like, this is our off time. I'm never gonna be, you know, your fucking big time verified Twitch partner, content creator, ultra, this is what I do with all my time kind of guy. I do a lot of different stuff. But man, this helps. This just helps me keep moving forward on some projects. You know, if I'm not like shut off to it, Kursala. If it happens, it happens, but that's not why I do it. Hang on, did I miss it, Merlin? I might have. Sometimes chat moves a little fast for me. Streamers I just don't enjoy. Make sure I don't have a beef with anyone if I can help it. Yeah, what's the point? Really, what's the point? Who gives a shit? But genuinely, there's so many streamers I've seen in the last year that have made me tackle human communication better. For someone with autism, makes the difference in an insane way. Merlin, no, I get you. I understand it. I think that's important. I don't think that I'm, you know, on the spectrum, but I've had my own issues communicating with people throughout my life. I've had way too many experiences in my life where I've been like really excited and outgoing with people and then had them react like, who the fuck is this asshole? And I've just felt like a complete dick afterwards. Like, oh my god, I just embarrassed myself. I've had that happen way too many times. It can happen to anybody. Particularly those of us with nerdy hobbies, you know? Famous does not mean have more money. It often does, Time Stop. But it also means that you have to have the mental fortitude to be, like, public with people all the time, and I do not. Oh, was it Chaotic Harmony the other day got rated by somebody with 1,400 viewers? I read that number, and it was like, internally, I cringed and I withdrew into a shell. Like, I thought about that, and I'm like, what if 1,400 people were suddenly looking at me? Like, I'd be, like, really tempted to just hit fucking end stream, get the fuck out. Like, whoa, no, thank you. If 1,400 people want to look at my Instagram feed, that's cool. But staring at me in a camera, talking to me in chat, I don't want that kind of bullshit in my life. No, thank you. Now, I understand Merlin models. Yeah, you know, I think all of us have stopped into some of the huge chats here on Twitch, and I think that they just appeal to different people. We're all different. We're all getting something else out of this, each one of us. I can't even stand to be in a chat that has more than like 100 people in it, though. Once you get to like 200 people, if people are active, chat's moving so fast that there might as well not be a chat. And a lot of like big streamers who get huge numbers, their chats are really non-interactive. It's mostly people talking to each other while they do their thing. And that's not really, it's not the kind of, it's not what we do here. I like to be involved in chat. This is one of my favorite things. This is why I do this, is because I want to sit here and read what you guys are saying and kind of bullshit while I work. It helps my mind, you know? I've said it 100 times, though I've said it once. I used to just go down to the friendly local game store and bullshit and work on stuff and talk to people about the latest releases and whatnot. And it was one of the better parts of my day, and this is my replacement for that since I can't anymore. Only a few trees left. Yeah, some chats are more active than others, Merlin. But there's a point at which I'm like, why am I even here? Like... There it was again, that weird little Ghostbusters ending to that song. New print is running. Fingers crossed for no new Nozzle Jams crossbow. I am sorry to hear that you have... That particular problem vexes me furiously. I'm hoping that just fixed it, because otherwise the troubleshooting process is going to get more complicated, man. I'm gonna start to average 60 plus active chatters. We'll just turn on slow mode. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm incredibly lucky to have the moderation team that I do. I know people with much more active streams who don't have the quality of moderation that I do. They make it possible for me to do almost nothing other than paint and bullshit, and that is ideal. But I mean, like, I just thank them and the powers that be in the universe for every day that my mods are here in chat, because I mean, without them, I don't know that I'd have that good a stream. I don't think I would, really. I don't even know that I have that good a stream. I certainly wouldn't have a decent chat, though. Is it possible for a painter to be affiliated? I've seen a couple. Oh yeah, no, they absolutely have been. Well, affiliated, are you talking about partner, Gus Schultz? There are two levels of monetization through Twitch. There is affiliate, which affiliate's really not that difficult to get for the most part. And then there's partner, and partner is definitely more difficult. No, there are plenty of partnered painters, Gus Schultz. What's his name? Brush for Hire? He got partnered in like 8 months. I don't know what the fuck happened over there. He's a great painter. Don't get me. The dude's a fucking amazing painter. For whatever reason, people were just like, I like this guy's personality, and he was partnered in like in under a year. It's crazy. Studio J7 just got partnered a couple months ago. Studio J7 is fucking awesome. I love that guy. He's a great streamer. He's a great dude. He gave me a lot of the advice that got me started here on Twitch, and he gave me some really, really good advice for that matter. But yes, it absolutely is not only possible, but a number have been. Oil paints are very odd. Gear Falcon, a lot of my learning to paint with oils has been mostly unlearning the habits and muscle memory that comes with painting in acrylics. It is odd, but once you get used to it, you'll find it very freeing, I believe. I always hesitate. I always hesitate to be like, you want to know a trick to do well on Twitch? Because I'm like, I feel like we're just making it up one day at a time. I'm not an expert on any of this. But I think, Walter, please feel free to chime in on any of this since I'm just kind of talking about streaming. I think that one of the more important skills to have is just being able to talk about nothing. Just keep opening your mouth and keep saying words and try not to make them like racist. This is an incredibly important skill for this particular thing. You know, assuming that your goal is to draw in viewers and whatnot. Assuming that it is, which, you know, usually it is if you're on Twitch in the first place. Alright, let's do a little dry brushing. Sphere coming in. Sphere, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. I think we might do 2 quick rounds of dry brush. Using my US Art Supply acrylics. Sphere is a damn good painter, like really good. There are people here, and this is the thing too, Twitch metrics, viewers, like, it's a funny thing. Just being a good painter doesn't mean a lot of people are going to be in your stream. There are people out there with much, much lower averages than I have, who are better painters by an order of magnitude. I always try to funnel people in that direction. Brent from Goobertown Hobbies, he's been in the chat a couple of times. He did a Twitch stream, and I thought it was kind of funny because you could tell he wasn't used to being live. He does a lot of YouTube content. His YouTube content is amazing. He did a stream on Twitch, and it was like you could just kind of tell he was like having to think about what to do and when to talk and having to keep himself going because he's used to being able to edit things. Like it's a unique skill to build, you know? Did they really, Rodan? That's fucking awesome. How you doing, Sphere? Okay. Get out my dry brushes here. See what we can do. See what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. Well, you know, Vergaderung, he probably didn't like doing it. He didn't seem like he was having fun, and man, yeah, it takes a little while to get over, like, to just get used to the notion of being on camera and talking while you do this crap. It's strange. What's funny is I don't do well with, like, edited content. I don't do well with pre-recorded videos for some reason. Like, I get really self-conscious and weirdly into perfectionism when I'm trying to record a YouTube video, as I've done a number of times. It's something I'd still like to expand into and get better at, but I've just had so much going on. I do, for whatever reason, mentally really well with live content. I like just kind of talking and making it up as I go. And when I have the opportunity to edit myself and to do multiple takes and edit it together and choose the best parts, like, I get so lost in analysis paralysis. I get completely lost in it, and it is bad. You know what? No, I'm not gonna do multiple levels. I'm gonna do one round of dry brushing in scale color 75 birch. I'm gonna wash it, and then I'm gonna move on to the stone. We're not gonna get lost in the details. Yeah, I struggle, Walter's Workshop. I struggle hugely with making pre-recorded content. And for whatever reason, I can hit start streaming and I can just talk. Often, 90% of what I say is complete bullshit. But that's actually a very genuine experience. If you knew me in real life, you'd know that's also what I do. It lets me cover up for not actually having a personality. Ranting about robots is a personality, right? God, I hope so. Merlin models, have a great night, man. I hope you had fun in chat, dude. It's always a pleasure to see you. I hope you have a good evening. Sphere, no, not at all. Dude, you don't have to. Sphere, you never have to apologize to me for shit, man. I just love seeing your content. If you're here to talk about it when I show it, that's great. If not, like, that's fine too, man. I'm not a terribly severe person. Severe. See what I did there? Because I didn't do it on purpose. I thought of it afterwards. Started on a chibi Frankenstein monster. Ooh. From Impact Minis? I don't know if I know Impact. Zombie Brush does some of his models. Okay, so I've probably seen a number of them then. Load my brush up a little bit more here. I'm not actually getting much paint on my dry brush, which I do want a little bit more. There we go. So one of the reasons that I'm doing the super simple paint job on these is when I design them, I try to design these bases in such a way that you can do almost no work and still have them look good. You could argue that I do it because I'm lazy, and you would be absolutely correct. It's because I want things that are designed to paint, that take painting into mind to the point where you just don't have to do much work to make them look good. So in a way, it's both proof of concept and a way for me to do almost no work. Ooga booga! Oh my god, Valandar the Red. How you doing, man? It's good to see you. Sumatha, I am doing wonderfully. Sumatha, are you going to be around in the area for Thanksgiving, or are you traveling? Because when Hethrir was up here, I mentioned next time we should grab lunch with you. Got laughed at today at work from home. Currently in a training course. One of my cats ran up, literally jumped into my arms, curled up, and went to sleep right on camera. Aww. What a little fucking ham. Awesome. He's very. We're still figuring out if we're gonna be here for Thanksgiving, but if we are, I'll hit you up. I was a little thrown by that story at first. You were like, I got laughed at today at work, and I was like, oh no, and you said work from home, and I was like, wait, what? How? What? The fuck are you talking about? Oh, okay. Now it makes sense, though. I gotcha. Oh my god, once I get these done, I'm finally going to be able to take some pictures of literally anything I've painted from Conquest. Won't that be nice? I'll prove that I actually own the game despite the fact that I've been painting it for literally months. I'm just, ugh. Over the summer, I mean, you guys have been here. My productivity level has just not been what it was. It's okay, though. It'll come back. It's one thing I've learned from years of doing this shit is that if I give it enough time, it'll come back around. Circles and cycles. It's like poetry that rhymes. Go. One more, and we'll do the bases. Then we can slap down a wash, and then we can move on to dry brushing the stone. This is my plan. I feel like, particularly for a rank and flank game like Conquest, if you're not making decisions that aid the speed of painting, you just, well, you know, it depends. Some people really, really like to customize every single unit and are into doing that like 300 times for an army, but I just know that I have a point where if I do things in too complex a way, I'm gonna get halfway through and just fucking quit. So, I try to keep things achievable for myself. Yeah. I wasn't trying to call you out, Walter. I'm not saying I didn't think of you briefly, like, oh, that poor son of a bitch. I mean, the good news is your army is going to look amazing when it's done, and it already has a lot of attention. Get you some sleep, Painted Ogre. Thanks for stopping in, man. You're committed now, though, Walter's Workshop. You gotta stay the course. Seen a dwarf army for Kings of War where every single unit was a full diorama. Now, admittedly, I think Kings of War lends itself to that better than most games, Valandar the Red, because as far as rank and flank goes, a lot of games have the models actually mean something, whereas if I'm not mistaken in Kings of War, the stands mean something, but like the number of models you have on it doesn't mean anything. We have shifted it around, Gear Falcon. We now close the storm report at the end of the forecast in the beginning of the stream. And it is 1 picture per person unless noted otherwise. We will be making it possible in the near future for you to buy additional slots using channel points. There aren't always tech problems. Sometimes I just sit there and drink a mug of coffee. Roland. Sometimes. Every now and then. Five more cops, Ring Wraith, Witch King, Batman and Robin, Adam West and Burt Ward, and then Sanguinius left for your 365 goal. Which Sanguinius? Are you painting the same Sanguinius I'm painting, Robin? Are we going to have to fight? Are we going to throw down? You see who's his best? Does the loser fucking hang up his paintbrush forever? Probably not. I thought I should ask. Yep, okay. Yeah, I thought maybe that was it. Okay, I'm in. Like, what else is there? Those are the rules, right? Mini painters are like, we're like immortals. There can be only one. I'll be very curious to see what you wind up doing with him, though, Rodan. Rodan, Robin. I keep just bouncing back and forth between names for you. I'm just going to try to call you Robin from now on, since you don't mind, and that is how I know you. When in doubt, hug it out. Or give him fluffy fingers like we used to in the hood, am I right? Just get right up in his face and just start tickling him. How you doing, Romeo Void? If I do start streaming, my name will change again for streaming purposes. Dude, you really should. You really should. And I want you to take this in the spirit in which I say it. You're good at bullshitting. You and I have spent a good deal of time just standing around rambling about games and comic books and shit. And I think you've got it, man. I think you would make a great streamer. I'd fucking be there, because you're also a great painter. See this. This is why I'm limiting myself to just dead-ass simple dry brushing today, because I've just got to do so many of them. If I was expecting myself to do anything more complicated, I would not get anything done. We're almost to 8 o'clock, and I've been doing nothing but dry brushing tonight. I want you to start streaming, Robin. I want it. Badly. And then, you know, you have, like... You could have, like, if you could convince Vanessa to do a little bit every now and then, like someone redeems channel points, and then you go to the Vanessa cam, and she just drops some Seinfeld-style observational humor about something that annoys her. That would be amazing. Someone drops like 50,000 channel points, and you just turn on the camera, and you're like, go! And she's like, what the fuck is up with people who talk in the fucking movies anyway? I don't get it. They're stupid. Yeah, you know, Rodan, it's hard to get away from that, man. There's a lot of us out there. We're virtually identical, which just means we have to be more appealing in other ways. Or you could stop wearing glasses. I mean, you wouldn't be able to see what you were doing, but it would certainly make you different. It could be like your gimmick. Like, folks, I need to wear glasses. I can't see shit, but I'm not gonna. Because we don't while we stream. And see what you can do. That's right up there. We're trying to paint left-handed. Just for, like, Instagram likes. FDM printer fixed and running. 2 parts from a large resin print cleaned up, ready to cure. 3rd plate printing now. Primed a new spaceship mini. Crossbow roof. That's some productivity right there. That's a good run, man. That'll do, nerd. That'll do. Christ, how many of these fucking bases am I doing? This is like 30 of them still. Once the world calms down, Robin, I'm gonna be coming down to see you guys. I miss hanging out with y'all. What is the deal with Thunderhead? He says we shouldn't be critical of ourselves, and then he's critical of us. Yeah, I'm a hypocritical asshole. This is the conclusion we should be reaching. You don't need Jerry Seinfeld to figure that one out, WJ. Some of these need more than others. God damn, I went back and watched some of Jerry Seinfeld's stand-up from the 90s. Must have been last month. It is, like, amazing how dated it was. I was not expecting to be as off-put by his humor as I was, but it was just like this great realization of kind of how far... I don't want to say how far comedy has come, just how much it's changed. How much our expectations have changed. How much styles have changed. It's like, wow, this is really pretty fucking... I mean, you know, it's old hat, which makes sense. It is actually old, but... It's just a little weird, you know? Why'd you have to go and put a fucking number on it, Vergaderung? I was just being very vague about the actual number, and you defined it. Jesus. You're out of your mind. You know, there's one thing on Seinfeld, Walter's Workshop, that always kept me coming back. That was George Costanza. I identified so much with George Costanza, and I discovered later it's because I identify with and love the writing of Larry David. And George Costanza is in many ways kind of a self-insert for his own thoughts and feelings that he would later put into his show Curb Your Enthusiasm. Turns out my spirit animal is like a elderly Jewish man. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm not going to run away from it. But specifically in the show Seinfeld, it was always George Costanza. He was the one that I most looked at and went like, yeah, I have these thoughts too. I too am neurotic and weird and a little obsessive. Need some more paint. Used up all my dry brush paint. We're almost to the end. Seinfeld was a time and a place. I think half the appeal of Seinfeld was the fact that everybody was into it at the time. You know what it was a damn sight better than? Is fucking Big Bang Theory. As far as shows that achieved a weirdly similar kind of place in the pantheon of the public eye. That is one show I have just never been able to get on board with. I have tried, and I hated myself every time I did it. Don't know if you saw the message I was asking, what day is good for you to talk about the streaming? Don't get out of work till 5-ish. But dude, I can jump on with you tomorrow, if you want, Robin. Remind me in the morning. But yeah, I'll be available. I'll be around the house. I'm fairly okay. Let me make sure I'm not going to Costco tomorrow, and then I'll definitely be around. And yeah, we can jump on voice. I am happy to provide any information that I can. I don't promise it'll be good information, but it'll be information that has at least worked for me. Is anybody watching What We Do in the Shadows? Mentioning the Big Bang Theory made me think of that. One of these, not the latest episode, but the episode before the latest one. He's, oh shit, what's his name? It's not Vladislav. Vladislav was the Vlad the Impaler character from What We Do in the Shadows, the movie. What is his name in the show? Oh, shit. I don't think any of those are right. Nandor. Nandor. Thank you. Yes. Nandor. They go to Atlantic City and Nandor starts playing slots and he just gets obsessed. And he's playing the Big Bang Theory slot machine and he just has a bunch of funny little remarks about Sheldon and he keeps yelling Bazinga and everything. I'm like, oh god. But he has a moment there when Colin Robinson's hanging out next to him. He's like, why do they call it the Big Bang Theory anyway? And Colin's like, well, you know, because of the theory of the creation of the universe. And Nandor just looks at him like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then it cuts to... it cuts to like an hour later in the hotel room, and Nandor has drawn on the wall his idea of the creation of the universe. And it's like Discworld. It's like, oh, there's the 4 elephants on the back of the turtle, but then on the back of those 4 elephants is another 4 elephants, and then there's the world, and Colin Robinson has drawn out, you know, all the math, the creation of the universe and everything, and Nandor is just, like, staring at the wall like, oh my god. Oh my, how have I been alive this long and have never learned any of this? Cut to him, like, sitting on the roof of Atlantic City as a vampire, just going, what's the meaning of any of this? Why? What's the point in being alive this long at all? We're all nothing. Existential vampiric crisis. I love that show. It's really good, and it's a lot of fun watching Jermaine Clement kind of go through and revisit a lot of old material from the movie that they did back in the day. I was worried it was going to become repetitive, but while he definitely goes through a lot of the same beats and reuses them, he adds new things to it, and he gets more creative as it goes on. Ricky Daytona. What's his friend's name? They're always yelling each other's name. Yeah, if you're not watching What We Do in the Shadows, you should be. I recommend watching the movie as well, but if I'm being totally honest, you don't have to. At this point, the show may be better than the movie, which... maybe this is a case of the exception proves the rule for me being an edgy hipster butt lord or whatever. You know? Maybe I don't hate things just because they're popular. It's possible. Because the show's really, really fucking good. Oh yeah, Mark Hamill. There's a lot of great guest stars in it. It's on Hulu, Vergataron. Rise of Mages, how you doing? Castlevania Dracula would have told him to suck it up, something about man being a miserable pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you! Unless we're talking about the show Castlevania Dracula, who just would have gotten super depressed and then tried to kill himself. I enjoyed Castlevania. I thought the stuff about Dracula and his son was actually surprisingly touching, given the nature of the show and the subject matter. Perhaps the same could be said of all religions. You steal men's souls and make them your slave. It's possible I've played Symphony of the Night too many times. Yeah, but he didn't want to, WJ. That's what I liked about that second season of Castlevania when they go to bring Dracula back, and he just this look on his face like, oh, fuck you. Just leave me alone. Oh, God. Just let me be dead. We should do What We Do in the Shadows for movie night. That's actually a good idea. Since we're going to be doing spoopy movies, What We Do in the Shadows isn't really spoopy, but it's, you know, about vampires and werewolves and shit. And the movie is phenomenal. I'd love to show the movie to some people who've watched the show but haven't seen it. It's not a case of, oh, the movie's so much better. They're both amazing. And honestly, the show may be better. But if you watch the movie, you get a feel for kind of where the show came from. Like, what the subject matter started as and how it's grown, which is kind of interesting. Alright. Got that initial dry brush down. Now I'm going to come across and do some washes, I think. Do I need to? I guess I don't necessarily need to. Let's try dry brushing some stone first. With, oh my god, that's weird. Mountain stone, that's warm. I need something cool. I need Tempest Gray and Heavy Blue Gray. Maybe just Heavy Blue Gray? Let me see. Where's Tempest Gray? How much have I got? Enough? Yeah, I think so. What's up, Seal 6 Operator? How you doing? I am never going to watch Dracula 3000 again in my fucking life. Guys, I like bad movies, but that movie fucking sucked. Come on. I do. Yes, Rise of Mages. I use... my paint stock consists now of... the only scale 75 I got as a gift. But mostly Reaper, Vallejo, Pro Acryl, and Rainy River designs. Making an army for old school epic Space Marine. Nice! Doing some 3D prints? Or you just get some good old tiny figures? You know what we should watch? You know what we should watch, you guys, for Halloween? Let's watch John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars! Fuck even happened there? Dude, okay, no, forgot it wrong. You're not gonna sit here and talk shit about Jason X. Alright? Jason X is a perfectly fine film. A perfectly fine film. It's not great. It's very watchable. No, you know what? We will. We will watch Jason X if you're gonna play this game with me, forgot it wrong. I'll fucking prove it to you. I like Jason X. Of course, I also think that, was it Jason 6? Friday the 13th? What's the subtitle on it? Not the final chapter. What's the one where Corey Feldman is all grown up, he's played by a different actor, and they dig up Jason to burn him, and then he gets struck by lightning and comes back to life. Which one is that one? It's not Jason Goes to Hell, it's before that. God damn, there's so many Friday the 13th movies. Jason Lives. Yes. I fucking love that one. I think Jason Lives is possibly my favorite movie. Hell, let's see, here we have from WJ. Not a paint project, but I want to someday do a novel project where, hang on, let me read this. Where Dracula forms a team of monsters. Problem is, I don't know if I want to do movie Cape Dracula or novel Dracula. Novel Dracula was Novel Dracula is more of a fucking monster than a person. This is an interesting notion, WJ. The things that I like about Dracula in the book, in Bram Stoker's Dracula, are that he's not a human being who's afflicted with a curse. Like, he is, but his humanity is long gone. He's more of a monster of consumption. He's like a physical avatar of hunger and rot. To make him more human, you kind of have to lean away from that. Because there's almost nothing, in fact, there is nothing redeeming about Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula. You can maybe feel bad for the person that he was, if you really want to dig into it, but he isn't anymore. The BBC did a Dracula a little while ago that I really, really enjoyed. Has some very cool stuff in it. Well, I tore a hole in my glove. I gotta swap gloves. I don't know how I did that. Dracula Dead and Loving It is fucking great. I love that one. Oh, thank you for preserving that data, nerd. I appreciate that. Sleepaway Camp. Yeah. The Prowler. Walter's Workshop. Have you seen The Prowler? The Prowler's a lot of fun. It doesn't have much of a story, but it has some of the best slasher kills I've ever seen in my life. You know, Phaedros, I'm not really into Michael Myers. The Halloween movies are... I like John Carpenter. Halloween's kind of fucking boring. Not really much happens, and I get that, like, part of it is supposed to be like Michael Myers. He doesn't have a motive. He's just crazy. You don't know what he's gonna do. And I'm like, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not gonna sit here and say that the Halloween movies are. Yeah, I'm talking about the movie. I love Halloween, the holiday, obviously, Rise of Mages. But I'm not big on Michael Myers as a slasher. He's kind of like the proto slasher, because like you know, you have to weigh Halloween against Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Halloween came first and was really just its own thing, and I think taken as that, like as its own movie with nothing really coming before it in the genre, it's fascinating, and it's an excellently done film. And then you have Friday the 13th, which was like, what if we just have more fun with it and do crazy shit? Like, Friday the 13th, there's nothing serious about it at all. It is... Halloween is arguably kind of self-serious and trying to tell a story in a weird way. Friday the 13th is not. Friday the 13th is just excuses to have people hacked to bits, and the story changes from installment to installment. I feel like Friday the 13th parts 1 through 4 are kind of the weakest in the fucking... Well, no, I guess 4 is pretty good. But they're kind of like... Keep going. Yes, they were WJ, but most of those are not a slasher in the same style as Halloween or Friday the 13th. Even I think the most similar to that would be My Bloody Valentine. Or when was The Town That Fears Sundown? When did that come out? And I'm not saying that no films of a similar type came before Halloween, but Halloween was super popular, and I think it was Halloween, it might not be the sole film, but it was the catalyst that caused Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, which were much more about just killing people in crazy ways. Like, there's no blood in Halloween. Oh, there's blood, but there's not much. Whereas Friday the 13th is like, hey, look, let's take this dude while he's doing a handstand and chop his crotch all the way down to his chin. Like, that shit's hilarious. Yeah, Psycho isn't a slasher. Psycho is a great movie, but it has very little in common with slashers of that style, in my opinion. Also, most of those were really trying to be movies, and I don't think Friday the 13th was ever trying to be anything more than just murder porn. Roland. I can't see Terminator as a slasher. I get that there are stylistic similarities, but it's not the same. There's no, like, oh, who's gonna die next? Like, he has a very determined target, and a lot of people die when they get between him and his target, but I would accept that Terminator is more of a horror movie than it is a sci-fi movie. I think that's probably accurate. More of a thriller. But I don't see Terminator as a slasher. Oh, it's a square. You caught me slouching again. Oh my god. The only part of Jason X I remember is the part where they trick him with a holodeck for an embarrassingly long time. Forgot it wrong. That's like one of the best scenes in the movie. He's on a holodeck, and Jason is there, and they project Camp Crystal Lake, and two, like, topless co-eds come out with a pitcher of beer in each hand. They're like, hey man, want a party? And Jason's just like, oh my god. Okay. And we cut away from him to the people trying to get through the door where they're delaying him. And then they cut back to Jason, and he has one of the co-eds in her sleeping bag. And this is a classic kill where he puts the co-ed in the sleeping bag, and then he swings her like a sack of potatoes and hits her head against the tree. It's a great kill. I love that one. But in this one, they double up on it, and there's the one who is in her sleeping bag, and he has the other one also in her sleeping bag, and he's beating one to death with the other one. They don't even show him start to do it. They cut away from him, and then they cut back. I want to say that was in, I can't remember which. It was in 5 or 6, though, WJ, where he puts her in the sleeping bag and he swings her head against the tree, which was a good one. What's up, Amateur Paint Hour? It was Jason X, Rise of Mages. They go to space. And admittedly, like, they had stopped even trying to... There's a lot of bullshit in Jason X, and I'll give you Forgottering, there are parts of Jason X that are really cringeworthy. But Jason is good in it. He's got some good kills. He's got the one where he takes the chick's face and he puts her face in the cryogenic fluid and then smashes it against the countertop. I like that one. There's one that I thought was actually pretty funny where there's the, like, tough as nails military guy, and he stabs him through the back when he's not looking, like with a, I don't know, piece of metal. And the guy has a line where he goes like, oh, it's gonna take more than that to take me down. So he just stabs him again with another piece of metal, and he looks down and he goes, yep, that ought to do it. It's so stupid. Freddy vs. Jason was great, by the way. Freddy vs. Jason was fucking phenomenal. You wouldn't think that it would be, but that movie was really quite enjoyable. We're just gonna go with heavy blue-gray. It's a bit too bright. I need something darker. Oop, you know what I can do? I'm just gonna drop some black in here. Excuse me. Freddy vs. Jason is one of the best, and the reason that I like, one of the reasons I like it is, like I'm saying, Friday the 13th never took itself that seriously. So it's not like you make Jason into a stupid, campy movie and you're like, oh, you ruined the integrity of Jason Voorhees. Jason Voorhees has always been fucking stupid. It's always been just an excuse to chop people to bits. Now, you can get a little bit more into it. You can feel some sympathy for Jason as a character, but you have to understand that Jason has barely been a character through most of the series. Hell, he almost got more characterization in Freddy vs. Jason than he did any other time. Because, like, Freddy reduces him to a child with water in his dreams, and you're like, oh, poor Jason. But, like, it was exactly where he belongs. Jason Goes to Hell is a bit much. Why did you say that name? Voorhees. Voorhees, Roland. Oh, I think I might have just grabbed the wrong dry brush. In fact, I'm pretty sure I did. Shit, this one's wet. I can't use this one. Give that one a rinse later. Switch off to another. Here we go. This'll do. And then Freddy's like, save Martha! Am I right? Exactly, Phaedros. Like, if they want to give him character, that's fine, and I have enjoyed it throughout the films, but he doesn't need one. He just has to be an avatar of death. And as everyone will be quick to point out, like, Jason wasn't even in the first movie. It's true, he wasn't. It was his mom. Then we got that amazing sound design for the first one with the They've expanded on it a little bit here and there, but he doesn't really need much expansion. He's fine just the way he is. There's a Monster Hunter movie if you're into Paul W.S. Anderson showing off his wife with confusing amounts of money. I've heard that it wasn't even bad. I don't intend to watch it, but... I heard it wasn't even good. Oh. A deft turn. Well played. It almost certainly was not good. But I learned a long time ago that if my standard for watching films is it has to be good, I'm just not going to watch any movies. Most movies are pretty stupid. Most media of any description is pretty stupid, because most people suck at writing. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy them. This is coming together decently, with just a couple colors, eh? Should switch to this side here so that I'm not accidentally wetting my brush. Dry brushing with a wet brush is a little counterintuitive and counterproductive. I don't think I have the balls to have an opinion on Dune. I don't think I care very much. If it's good, it's good. I'll watch it. That's not going to bother me either way. I'm not, like, waiting with bated breath or anything. It's probably going to be good. It has enough money put into it that odds are it's going to be watchable. It's going to be better than Jurassic World. How about that? Goddamn well should be. No, amateur paint hour. No, stop. No, whatever. Okay, amateur paint hour, for the love of God. Whatever you're doing right now, stop, man. Don't do that. You don't need to watch the original Dune. No. For the love of Christ. Don't get me wrong, dude. I enjoy that movie for what it is. I'm a big... that's not true. I don't want to say I'm a big David Lynch fan, because there's people out there who are way bigger fans of David Lynch than I am. I like David Lynch. I have consumed most of his catalog. There are still a few that elude me. I need to watch Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire. But you do not need to watch that movie. You can watch it. But don't go in thinking, this is the standard to which Dune should be held. Because it's not. It's probably the worst movie David Lynch has ever made. Really, is there anyone in chat right now who would argue with that? Anyone in here who would say that Dune is not the worst movie David Lynch has ever made? Do you have a worse one? Because I'm curious if you do. Shout guns, my name is a killing word. Corporate monster hunting bounty hunters led by a werewolf with orc tech support. Wait, what the fuck are you talking about, Roland? Oh, Monster Hunter International. Oh, I have no idea what this is. Interesting. Hodorowski's Dune never happened, WJ. And this is, you know, I love having the conversation about Hodorowski's Dune, and I'm sure it would have been something, but we have to remember that it didn't happen, and so we build this version of it in our heads that's like, oh, but it could have been amazing. It could have been shit, too. It has the benefit of not existing. It's like they say you should never meet your idols. When there's like a famous person that you think is really cool, you build them into being this amazing person in your head, and then you meet them and they're like a total fucking dickhead. It's like that. Don't meet them. Just let them be special in your mind. Hodorowski's Dune probably would have been better than David Lynch's Dune, because David Lynch just made any old David Lynch movie out of that. Had nothing to do with Dune as far as I could tell. Does that mean I should never meet Thunderhead? I will almost certainly disappoint you, Kursala. I'm fairly boring most of the time. Project Dark Fox, welcome back. Never meet your heroes, never drive your dream cars. That's not one I've heard, but it makes a lot of sense. Dreams are dreams for a reason, you know? Because they're not poisoned by reality, and reality is unfortunately a poison a lot of the time. Yeah, this is... If you have to go watch a version of Dune to prime yourself for the story, like if you have to do it, watch the sci-fi miniseries that came out in the early 2000s. It was pretty solid in my opinion. The one with William Hurt in it. Yeah, it's really good. I like that one, Sumitha. Well, I don't want to say really good. It's quaint, but it's pretty solid, in my humble opinion. You know, it was. It was good, Phaedros. My problem with that is that I don't fucking like Children of Dune as a story. Like, broadly. I don't even like the book Children of Dune. You know what, guys? You want a hot take? You want a hot take on something? I don't really like Dune all that much. Like, I like it. I think I liked Dune more. Here's the thing. Dune has always been a part of my life. Because I grew up in a family that did a lot of reading, so it was like my brothers and my dad both read Dune. So when I was really young, it was like, well, Dune is a good story. Before I knew how to judge stories for myself, I just assumed that it was. And it is. It's a good story. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not here saying, like, you're wrong to like Dune. There was also that Project Dark Fox. I played Dune 2 and Dune 2000 and Emperor Battle for Dune. I really liked the video games. It wouldn't be until years later, like I read the books when I was very young, before I could really understand them. And it wouldn't be for years later that as an adult I came back to them and reread them. And by the time I got to the end of them, I was like, I don't fucking really like these books very much. I like the first one. Dune is interesting. As soon as you get to Children of Dune, I'm like, alright, what, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Herbert. What are you doing? Like, this is ridiculous. But that's me and how I consume sci-fi. Your mileage almost certainly will vary. It's not my kind of story. I was much more into, as far as books and authors that I picked up young in life that weren't recommended to me, that weren't like, oh, my dad and my brothers read it, therefore I liked it. Things that I discovered on my own and fell in love with. I am a big Asimov fan. I fucking love Isaac Asimov's writing. The Caves of Steel, The Robots of Dawn, Foundation, and its various derivations, sequels, and prequels. I love Asimov. Which is why I'm really trying to give the Foundation series a chance right now. It doesn't, Kursala. Like, it genuinely doesn't. The Foundation books don't really have any characters in them. Like they do technically, but yeah. Not really. Asimov wasn't that big on characters. He was about story. Perhaps one of the most fleshed out characters in Asimov's entire universe would be Susan Calvin and R. Daniel Olivaw. They're some of the only characters who got multiple stories written about them. And I think Susan Calvin was his way of, like, feeling sorry for the human condition more than anything. And as far as Dune goes, by the time it got to, like, Chapter House, I'm pretty sure he didn't care anymore. Frank Herbert at that point either didn't care or was going senile. I'm not sure which. Maybe both. Oh, he had some wicked puns. I just liked the way his stories worked. He was a mathematician. He loved his arithmetic, and he wrote his stories like equations, which is, again, why Foundation is so dense and difficult to get through. You don't read it because you want to become invested in the emotions of a character. You read it because you want to try to figure out where it's going, and you enjoy the logical steps that he takes to get to someplace unexpected. Kind of showing how things can both be very logical and self-explanatory and yet elusive. That was sort of the focus of his initial robot mystery stories with, like, you know, Caves of Steel and Robots of Dawn. They were like detective stories. He presents you with the 3 laws of robotics, and then you have to ask yourself, how is it that we get around them? What makes sense? They seem so perfect. on a second. Since there's a lot of Dune fans here, if a Gola of Glassal Raban was made and trained to be a Mentat, and given lots of spice and the other stuff Mentats take, it's the juice of Sappho? The juice of something. It's like a little, yeah. Would it be smart or still as dumb as a box of rocks? He'd be educated. He'd be disciplined. I think that Raban, as a well-trained Mentat Gola, would still be blunt, brutal, and cruel. As I say that, that's a big maybe, because I feel like a lot of who Raban was kind of trained into him by his upbringing. He would always be blunt and straightforward. He might not be as cruel. It's like Piter. Piter was just as educated as any other Mentat, but he was sick. He was malicious and vicious, and he was cruel because of who he was and how he came up. He could have been something much less cunning had his life gone a different way. Star Wars also have spice runners. Almost every science fiction... Like, I don't even know how many science fiction universes have used spice as their generic name for drugs, but it's at least 5. I say that totally unqualified. I don't think I could name 5 offhand, but it's been a lot. Spice is a good generic catch-all term for space drugs. Particularly when you're writing something where you don't want to talk about hardcore drugs because the censors are going to come after you. Gonna buy some death sticks. So here, let me show you, since I've got different colors on here. Let me dry brush this one real quick, and I'll show you kind of what I have in mind for this. I was talking about this at the beginning of the stream, and I'm finally at a point where I can sort of show it. So what I have here are only 2 of 4 variations of this base that have the blank spaces of the tray filled up in different ways with these really rough cobblestones. They're meant to look kind of shitty and old and like they haven't been maintained in a while. That's why I'm calling it Old Market Road. But the idea is that if you have, say, 2 trays next to one another, you can set them up like this. So you've got dirt on this side and dirt on this side. And now you've essentially made yourself a little road. That your fantasy mans are then standing on. You see? It's kind of neat, right? And then you do a few of those in a row if you're going deep. Or there's one that's completely full up, so you put that one in the middle and you've got a nice wide road, right? Space Truckers. Yeah, okay, Space Truckers also had a pull start dick, okay? Someone in chat thinks I'm kidding. They're like, oh, that Thunderhead, he's such a kidder. He comes up with these jokes. How is he so clever? I'm not that clever. That's in the fucking movie. I don't even think Space Truckers is that bad. Here's the thing. I like to get into what actually makes a movie bad. And I don't think Space Truckers is a bad movie. Space Truckers is it's a B movie. Like, to be bad, a movie has to be, like, trying to be good. I think. If a movie knows how stupid it is and it's just trying to have fun and be stupid, is it fair to say it's bad? Because Space Truckers, again, Space Truckers has a pull start dick. The Room. Yes, Walter's Workshop. This may be the crowning achievement of bad movies. I know everybody talks about The Room. But The Room wasn't kidding. The Room was being serious. Tommy Wiseau was trying to make a good movie. And it's fucking unbelievable what he actually made. It's so fucking terrible that it's at times difficult to comprehend what's happening. That's a bad movie. It's also kind of brilliant in its own twisted way, from a certain point of view. To quote Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, hey, doggy. You're my favorite customer. The fucking ADR from off screen. Oh, you're my favorite customer. Like, they just added that after the movie was over. Or how about me fucking underwears? Oh, my God. No one understands me. Everyone's against me. I'm through with this world. I don't know. It's been a while. What do you think about the original Star Wars movie writing? I think it's a great example of perfectly serviceable writing. Rise of Mages. If you had asked me that 15 years ago, I probably would have said something really stupid. Like, it's a cinematic masterpiece. It's one of the greatest films ever made. It shaped the fabric of society. It's changed filmmaking. That's all bullshit. Star Wars, the originals, were perfectly adequate writing and an amazing combination of very talented special effects artists that created a very, very enjoyable adventure movie experience. It was never really that good because it was, like, it's good in the sense that it was cleverly done. It was well applied, and I think it knew what it was. It wasn't until after Star Wars became popular that George Lucas started saying idiotic crap about his writing being poetry. That's fucking garbage. George Lucas couldn't write his way out of a wet paper sack. As it turns out, neither can a lot of highly paid Disney executives either. You know, Gear Falcon, he was very young, and I love Mark Hamill. Here's the thing, Gear Falcon. I try to be honest in my appraisal of art and of film. And I really try not to, because I'll tell you right now, many times in my life, I've gotten lost in the notion of, and I know we're going to be a little bit late for the Storm Report tonight, guys. I just want to finish up this round of dry brushing. I have been guilty many times in my life of confusing I like this thing with this thing is good. I know that I've done it. I've probably done it recently without realizing I was doing it, but I try to stop myself when I do it. I love Mark Hamill. I think that Mark Hamill is a phenomenally talented voice actor, and I think that is objectively true. His voice acting is sort of the pinnacle of his career. I love the character of Luke Skywalker. I think his acting as Luke Skywalker was good. But it wasn't like the greatest acting anybody's ever done. It was just sort of a perfect storm of writing and personality and ensemble, for that matter. Like, Luke Skywalker wouldn't be as endearing as he was without the addition of Harrison Ford's Han Solo, Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia. Like, it was the whole package, you know? I don't even think that Mark Hamill would pretend to be that great of an actor. Mark Hamill, from what I know of him, would probably just turn that question into a chance to praise his co-stars. His acting was just fine. There was nothing wrong with it. If anything, his kind of moon-faced, naive attitude worked well for the character. Performances like that, I feel, are rarely the fault of the actors who give them. directors have to know how to use their actors. And they knew how to use Mark back then. I think Mark has become a better actor with time, too. Now these are the ones where it doesn't have stone in two corners. You can kind of use these to do some interesting sort of connections. Like if you were to take these like this, and then do these ones on the side, on the front here, you could sort of imply two pathways coming together and then continuing forward as one. I don't know. I'll have to do some big tray builds to kind of show off what I have in mind, and it'll look better once the actual bases are put on too. Alright, it is about time for the storm report, so I am going to pause our work here. All we've been doing today is basing and dry brushing, and we've gotten 6 of these guys most of the way done. I'm pretty pleased with how these bases are coming together. They've got good texture, they paint very easily, and I think they're going to look good when all is said and done. I'm probably going to do some more on this tonight, since it's just such idiotic work. I'll put on like some YouTube videos and keep on dry brushing, but for now, we have got other fish to fry. That's the thing, Sumitha, and I know I've said this before, Star Wars is lightning in a bottle. Star Wars was a perfect storm of talent and imagination. Star Wars, without any one of the possibly disparate elements that made it what it was, is not as good. Star Wars without John Williams is not as good. Star Wars without Lawrence Kasdan is not as good. Star Wars without George Lucas is not as good. Star Wars without Mark Hamill, without Harrison Ford, without the incredibly talented people at ILM, without Steven Spielberg, not as good. It was everybody coming together, and the fact that at that time, like, I think it's important to understand this new thing with mega franchises that make billions of dollars and hyper powerful directors with absolute artistic control, your James Camerons, your George Lucases, these weren't a fucking thing. These didn't exist until very recently. You could make arguments for like your Stanley Kubricks and shit, but that is a completely different sort of artist. No one man made Star Wars, and as soon as one man was making Star Wars, we saw what happened. The fucking prequels happened, and as much as I am totally on board with finding redeeming aspects of the... Oh, obviously, yeah. No, you know what? Yeah, my point's moot. I forgot Walter's Workshop made Star Wars. Without Walter's Workshop, none of it would be possible. I'm all about these days finding the redeeming qualities of the prequel movies, particularly because the sequels were so fucking cynical. But those movies suck. Like, really bad. I'll have this conversation with Greg the Salt Miner when he's in here. We'll go back and forth all day on what's good and what's bad about the prequels. I love a lot of things about the prequels. I can objectively recognize the parts that are just fucking stupid. In fact, they are a good example. They're a great example of truly bad movies, which is to say someone set out and they said, I'm going to make an amazing film. It's going to blow everybody's mind. It's going to be the greatest love story ever told. It's going to be the most epic battles you've ever seen. We're going to push the boundaries of special effects. We're going to change the fucking world. And what we got was like a wet fart in a bag of sand. It was like, oh, how do you fuck this up? I want you guys to watch one particular shot for me.
If you anger the fox, you're going to get stuffed in a box.
We're moving on, Project Dark Fox. I want you guys to do me one favor, because there's one scene in the prequels that hurts my fucking brain. There's a lot, but there's one, and I only mention it because I don't know if you've noticed it. Maybe you have. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. The fight scene. I should get a clip of it. So I can play it. Maybe I'll do that for the next stream. the fight scene in the beginning when Obi-Wan and Anakin confronts Count Dooku. Also, terrible name for a character. There is a sequence where is Dooku? I want to say he's like up. They're fighting, and he jumps, and he lands up on the raised walkway, and the two Jedi come up the stairs from either direction to get to him. I think Anakin jumps, and then Obi-Wan goes up the stairs after him. So this is what I want you to watch. Watch Obi-Wan going up the stairs. If you have access to the movie, do this for me. Fast forward to that part, and just watch the part where Obi-Wan goes up the stairs. There's a super battle droid coming down at him, and he's going and firing his blaster at him, and Obi-Wan dispatches him. Watch that. Watch Obi-Wan going up the stairs and dispatching the B-2 battle droid. I don't want to tell you what you're watching for, because it's such a quick scene, you've probably never really looked at it. Just watch it and ask yourself, what the fuck is wrong with this? Because what's wrong with that shot is what's wrong with so much of everything else in those fucking movies. A bunch of actors who have no idea what the hell they're doing or what they're supposed to be reacting to, running around in a big green room, waving a stick around, going, hey, whatever, they'll fix it in post. It's fucking unbelievable. It's like, and I don't know how I didn't notice it so many times, and then when I did notice it, I could never unsee it again. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. I'm just saying, watch that. Watch that very, very specific moment. That and which... Oh, it is. It's terrible everything, Project Dark Fox. It's fucking terrible everything. Those movies are big flaming bags of shit. Oh my god. We should do the Storm Report, you guys. We should see what everybody's been posting. Probably part of the reason why the scene with Darth Maul was so good, because there was actually a physical opponent on stage. Right? Yes. Yes. Like, everything, all the context surrounding the fight with Darth Maul is complete fucking nonsense, and there's a few gaping plot holes in the Force powers used during the fight with Darth Maul, but the choreography is, it's so good. And then the choreography takes a steep nosedive after that. As soon as you get to the lightsaber fight between Dooku and Yoda, it's like, oh, everything from here sucks. Everything from here sucks. I like parts of the big fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin, but it goes on for like 20 fucking minutes. It's so... If that entire fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin had occurred on the lake, on the shore of the lava river, it would have been better than them leaping from building to building and jumping on droids and sailing into the air and everything exploding and who the fuck knows? Well, WJ. See, this is why it's dangerous to keep me talking about Star Wars. Because there's a line, and I'm going to move past this quickly, I swear to God. I'm going to move past it quickly. Stop prompting me. There was a line in that fight where Count Dooku says one line that broke my brain as I was watching it. He said, "It is clear that this contest will not be decided by our knowledge of the Force, but by our skills with a lightsaber." What the fuck are you talking about, dude? What the fuck are you talking about? Are you telling me that the pinnacle of the Jedi arts are swinging a goddamn sword? This point is driven even further home as soon as, O'Coral, you know. Yeah, you saw it. It's driven even further home when the Emperor goes and snaps out a lightsaber to fight the Jedi. I'm like, in my head, people like Yoda and the Emperor didn't use lightsabers because they were so good at the Force. They were so good in the Force. The lightsaber has always, it's like a focus. It's like a wizard's staff. The staff is not their magic. The staff is their focus. It's their meditation instrument. It is how they move, how they translate their power into physical reality. And it's the same thing with a lightsaber, I thought. This was my understanding. It was a focus. And George Lucas was like, no, it's the culmination of their arts. And I'm like, George Lucas, you're a fucking idiot.
I know you're really focused,
You're
Thunderhead,
just-
but your camera is not.
I like this. A few people have now gone and watched the scene I'm talking about, and you all know exactly what I mean
When watching
now.
Thunderhead stream, you may feel the urge to do the cha-cha.
Okay,
because he likes
okay.
to slide it to the left, and then slide it to the right, and then pull it off screen entirely. Come on, Thunderhead, put it back on camera.
See, that's it. See, that's it, WJ, because those are some of my favorite lines in all the movies, is an Empire Strikes Back. My ally is the Force. And a powerful ally it is. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. And then George Lucas is like, nah, never mind. It's swords. It's swords. We do swords. That's the pinnacle of the Jedi arts. It's fucking swords. We're gonna swing. We're gonna swing swords. God damn, now I'm depressed. Now I'm depressed. I'm in a great state of mind to look at the storm report.
All right, locusts and gentlemen, get ready to feast your eyes
Sister.
on Lord Peyton wet
Ooh,
palates with
time
the occasional
stop.
culinary
Oh, it's
atrocity thrown in on
delivery.
tonight's storm report. Brought to you by viewers like you.
See, this is what I mean about a director being able to get a good performance out of even a mediocre actor, because I don't think Mark Hamill is that great an actor. But the change in his face. The change in his face when Vader says, "So, you have a twin sister." Suddenly it's not about him anymore. Luke was ready to die, he was ready to sacrifice himself, but he can't sacrifice others. Guys, can I just say, alright, we're gonna do the storm report. I just want to say, I'm so happy that so many of you went out, pulled the movie up on streaming, and watched exactly the scene that I talked about. Because I'll bet you've watched the movie before and you've never really looked at that shot before. But it's so fucking bad. Ewan McGregor had no idea what he was supposed to be doing. He had no idea what they were going to be putting in post. And they made it fit so awkwardly. It's... He had no idea there was supposed to be a droid in front of him. He was just running up the stairs, and they were like, let's have him deflecting blaster bolts. Anyway. He doesn't even move his blade. He's holding his blade in a resting position next to him, and blaster bolts are just hitting it. It's like the droid is aiming at his sword to the left of his body. It's... Oh, it's indicative of everything that was wrong with George Lucas's approach to the movies. Fuck it, we'll fix it in post. Speaking of Star Wars, we're getting off on the right foot with Phaedros working on some B-1 battle droids. These are a tricky paint job. I think I told you when you were building these. Phaedros, I've built a lot of models. I've built way more models than I've painted. The majority of my hobby time has probably been spent building. I've done a lot of builds. I've built some fiddly fucking models. I have built Malifaux teams, squads, crews, Malifaux crews, which are some of the most difficult to build models in the styrene range. And I don't think they hold a candle to these B1s. These B1s are a pain in the ass. So, Phaedros... You deserve to take a moment, sir. Because it's an accomplishment. It's a big pain in the ass, and the build looks good, man. Nice job on the paint job too. Looks like we got a little shading, a little wash action going on. I'm curious what you're gonna go with for the bases. 10 months. 10 months. Thank you so much to Square. Welcome in, man. When I'm saying welcome in, you've been here. Yeah, my brain. I'm just on autopilot. Thank you so much for the resub, though, dude. I really appreciate it. That's why Samwise's fight with the giant spider with Shelob in the Lord of the Rings trilogy was so good. Yeah. Oh, Project Dark Fox, you were just complaining about people getting me started talking about Star Wars. You want to get me started talking about Lord of the Rings? Is that what you want to do? Because we can do that if that's what you want to do for the next hour or two. Because Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings trilogy by Peter Jackson, are And guys, I've thought a lot about this, and I'm willing to have this conversation. If someone wants to fucking argue with me, I'm just going to tell you, I think that The Lord of the Rings might be some of the greatest movies ever made. By certain metrics. By certain metrics. I don't think they're, like, the most important or influential movies ever made in the sense of certain elements of filmcraft, but they are so influential. And they're you know John Borman, when he made Excalibur? I just learned this the other day. John Borman, when he made Excalibur, was originally pushing to make Lord of the Rings. I feel like the world would be a different place if John Borman had done Lord of the Rings instead of Excalibur. I don't even know if we would have gotten the current Lord of the Rings movies. I'm not gonna get off on like a whole thing. I'm just, you know, I love Lord of the Rings, and I love those movies. I'm out of focus. I'm out of focus in more ways than one. Alright. The how's that? Is that better? It should be better. Wonderful. Asri, we're in a fight now. Asri, we're fighting, you and me. We're going to. We are fighting currently. You and I are now fighting. I just wanted you to be aware of that. Just so you know. I would make the fucking argument that Peter Jackson made Tolkien's admittedly excellent, but very dense and difficult to digest and very flowery writing more palatable and told the story in a clearer, more concise, more enjoyable way. Just so you know where I'm at with it. Hot take, if 40k adopted Star Wars Legion's rule set, it would be amazing. Oh, yeah, Rise of Mages, you're not going to get me to argue with you on that one, man. You're not going to get me to argue with you on that at all. Star Wars Legion has a better rule set than 40k, by a huge margin. Something just a little different from me this time. Couple of Greek heroes in 28mm, my version of Achilles and Heracles. Here we have from Nanotanks. Let's have a look. Ooh, I saw some of the early pictures you posted of you're starting to work on Achilles on Instagram. I love the basing, by the way. It looks very natural. Really, really nice contrast skin tones, and I like the way you've done the wood texturing on all Heracles down here. That is lovely. I've been looking at doing some more bronze armor. I like how you've balanced the bronze against, like, kind of purple tones here, too. Very, very interesting work. Nanotank's lovely. Gear Falcon, you have a great night, man. Thank you so much for being here. This is a pretty cool pose on this Achilles figure as well. I really like the skin tones on Heracles. They're kind of cartoonish, but they work so well. Hodorovsky's Hobbit. Oh, that would have been weird. Star Wars Armada is a great game. Honestly, FFG makes great fucking games, and I'm really sad that making war games didn't work out for them in the long run, and that they passed off everything to Atomic Mass. Atomic Mass Games has rules very similar to Privateer Press's old rules, which makes sense since they're composed of people who left Privateer Press. But between the way that Privateer Press writes their crunchy rule systems and the way that FFG writes fairly elegant, simple rule systems, like complex but not complicated, I rest in peace, Rune Wars. We hardly knew ye. Oh god. Oh, really nice work, Nanotanks. FFG's rules are really good. Yes, they very much are. I think Fantasy Flight stopped because Asmodee bought them. But Asmodee owned Fantasy Flight before they started making those games. I agree with that, Ren Momo. If they took everything they did with Solo, a Star Wars story, but did it in style of The Mandalorian, it would be a great show. Amateur Paint Hour, it genuinely is. Star Wars Armada is genuinely a very high-quality game. Rune Wars. Rise of Mages, I'm glad somebody else mourns for it like I did. I loved Rune Wars. I loved everything about Rune Wars. I love the art style. I like the lore. I know most people aren't going to pick the lore as something they like, but I actually really enjoyed it. It still exists in their other, you know, Rune Wars setting games. Rune Wars is one of the best game systems I've ever played in my whole fucking life. And FFG sacrificed it on the altar of Disney in order to make Star Wars games, and I think that it was a mistake in the long run. But, you know, I'm not the one printing money, so I guess don't listen to me. Here we have from Robin, the Age of September. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. The Age of September is over. The time of October has come. I didn't say it enough like I had a tumor on my face. He was more like he always had phlegm in his throat. The Age of September is over. That's too high pitched. It has to be deeper. You have to, but then, the Age of September is over. No, that sounds too much like Gollum. The time of October. Why can't I do both of those at once? I give up. The point is, Gothmog. That's the point. No, nobody clip this. For the love of God. That was a really, really bad attempt at doing Gothmog's voice. Come on, let's not do that. Data Nerd, thank you. Oh, man. Really liking the banner work you got done here, Robin. I went with much more muted colors when I did my orcs, and you're making me wish that I had gone for this much more vibrant red, because your models pop more than mine do, man. These are at least, again, I love seeing figures other people have done. You have my sympathy on this Gothmog. This sculpt is so fucking rough. Is yours metal or fine cast resin?
I think I can actually do a pretty decent Golem, Precious. I don't really know. I don't think I've ever recorded it, Precious. They hurt us. They hurt us so terribly. Oh.
Want to make them stand out, and it's fine cast. Yeah, this fine cast resin is pretty rough. It's like one of the only impressions I think I'm any good at. I can do like a halfway decent Obi-Wan.
But if I try to do poor Smeagol is innocent, Precious.
Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman, the Tolkien white guys and the Tolkien white guys. Oh man. Yeah, it's like if I just do Obi-Wan off the cuff, you know, like, oh, taking your first steps into a larger world. It's okay. If I think too much about it, it goes away. Andy Serkis, I hear, is a prick. But this is one of those where it's like, he's a prick, but he's so fucking good at what he does that it's hard to say anything that bad about him. Like, he might be really unpleasant to work with, and he might be totally full of himself, but he's so good, it's like, no, well, we're gonna put up with it, because it's Andy fucking Serkis. Feels more appropriate without, for lack of better words, dishonor. Wait. Oh, you guys are still talking about committing Sudoku. Oh, okay. Okay, I gotcha. Oh, I like the red-brown we have on here. What did I do for the basing on my Mordor orcs? I know that I didn't use the body, because the warg that he's riding on here is sort of kicking off the stone this body is leaning against, and I put another rock in here. I did like a red basing, I want to think. I definitely like the more vibrant red, and I think you did a better job on Gothmog's skin than I did. Really good work, Robin. And guys, if you ever want to see more of Robin's work, he has his own art channel on the Thunderhead Studio Discord. Enjoy it there before he makes his own before he becomes a streamer and gets like way fucking bigger than me, and I have an art channel on his Discord, because those days are coming. Here we have from Kursala, Thunder Cheese Incorporated faces off against an unidentified pirate walker. Year unknown, colorized. Thunder Cheese Incorporated. I like how, particularly with this like nonsense cheese paint job, like it looks even more like a face, like a Thomas the Tank Engine face going on here. He says. That's yeah. Like, it's not as noticeable in the more muted paint schemes, but in the Thunder Cheese paint scheme, it's just right there. It's hard to even ignore. Faces everywhere. Pattern recognition is a bitch. Kursala Tiny Hands Tiny hands will become more powerful than either of us. One day. She keeps up like this. Here we have from Mafik. Well, I only made this month. Either way, this is This is one of Warden's forms known as Black Bunny, which is a form known only for Halloween events. He lost a bet with a warlord Pikehead, founder of the guerrilla warfare unit known as Swamp Demon, the night before Spooky Month. He's a warden, but he's a bunny man. Oh, he's adorable. It looks like he acquired digitigrade legs as well, with the little back curvature there. She's gonna outdo us all. Well, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Looks like he's got guacamole on his hammer. I don't know why that's what my mind went to. Maybe I'm hungry. This is usually the time of the night that I start to get hungry. I wonder, Mafik, are we gonna see any Halloween versions of any of your other characters? Because I am absolutely into that. I've seen some Project Dark Fox. When I said mental break, that's what I meant. Oh, okay. I see. Well, then I'm extra excited. Nice work on this. I continue to like the sort of single hatch shading that you do. You have a unique style that continues to develop, Mafik. Nice work. Here we have from Ren Momo Kazakh. Wait, am I missing the first letter there? Or is that lowercase? Okay, it's Kazakh. Kazakh Spetsnaz from Infinity. You can run them with US Ariadna. I'm not familiar with any of the factions from Infinity. And the Highlanders, which are basically US Army Rangers and Scotsmen in kilts with guns, respectively. And they all work together perfectly. Oh, that makes sense. Therefore, I have the idea there will be Spetsnaz running at the enemy with shotguns yelling "Chika Blia." I don't speak any goddamn Russian. I know it's bad word. This is a popular bad word that they yell. I'm pretty sure "bliat" means fuck. With an army ranger, an army ranger lays down suppressive fire with an LMG saying "Oorah, brother!" to the Spets. Whoa. Let's slow it down. Because that I do know. WJ, thank you. It doesn't matter, and it's stupid, but Marines and soldiers, respectively, would be very upset to hear a U.S. Army Ranger yelling "Oorah" as opposed to "Hua." Hua would be the appropriate nonsense grunt for an Army Ranger. So let's correct this. Laying down suppressive fire with an LMG saying "Hua, brother!" to the Spetsnaz while a Scotsman in a kilt plays a bagpipe to inspire them. Wow, somehow the most ridiculous part was actually at the end. Why won't this maximize? There we go. Oh, I like the colors on this. Ren, this is, I think, one of the cleaner paint jobs I've seen you do. We've seen a number of paint jobs out of you. I think if I were going to give a critique of your painting style overall, if I was going to pick the most negative thing I could say, it's that your brush control can be a little loosey-goosey with a number of paint jobs, which I think works really, really well with Gaslands. Some of the man-sized figures you've done, they've wound up looking a little bit sloppy. This is clean. From what I can see, this is nice and clean with a good distinction between the different colored panels. Some decent shading on there. It looks like well-applied washes is what this looks like. I think this is honestly one of my favorite paint jobs I've seen you do on a 28mm scale figure. Also, nice job on the basing. Simple and effective. Simple and effective. Really nicely done, Ren. I think that your work has been paying off lately. I like the sort of olive green against the drab brown and tan and then the little red eye lenses. That's a nice touch. Very, very nicely done, Ren. And thank you for sharing. Here we have from Amateur Paint Hour. The package is safe. Delta didn't lose it. Oh, this is a relief. I was really pretty upset when you mentioned that they had lost your fucking mechs after traveling to go to a BattleTech event. I am so glad that they've made their way back to your hands safe and sound. This is legitimately, yeah, a weight a weight off my shoulders, a weight off my mind. I need more booze. I'm gonna go get more booze. I'll be right back. Oh, it's so cold. So cold. Oh, God. Ugh. Color scheme is inspired by some stuff from World of Tanks that your friend showed me, especially the gray-green. It worked really, really well, Ren. And you know, just this is a tiny point for those of you who have trouble picking paint schemes. I know I do sometimes. Just find something you like the look of and do that, which is pretty much what Ren Momo did here. Just pick something, it's like, that looks cool, and just emulate it. Don't spend too much time worrying about every little decision. Until you're comfortable making decisions with color combinations, just go with what other people have done, for the most part. Even if it's just simple stuff, like, honestly, what's weird is, like, fashion blogs are a good source of inspiration for color schemes. Oh my god, excuse me. Just, like, go to Google and type in, like, what colors look good together, or, I mean, the other thing you can do is if you want to learn how to use a color wheel, which I do advise, for anyone who does painting on the regular, get yourself a color wheel and refer to it often. Some of the easiest things that you can do is to go on here and pick a triad. Either pick two colors on the opposite side of the color wheel, or pick a triad, just make a little triangle. Most of these color wheels will have a little reference so that you can build a triad. Like this one has 3 little arrows here, so you point it at, okay, one of my colors I want to be green, and now it's pointing at violet and orange. Green, violet, orange. Boom, those are your 3 colors. Go with that. Incredibly effective. Might not always occur to you as like something you would have picked, but I promise you, once you paint it, you'll like the look of it. It works incredibly well. Use free-to-play games like MWO to build color schemes. Yeah, that's another good piece of advice, Sumitha. It absolutely is. What do we got? What do we got, Roland? Headcanon for Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 11, that the Imperial Captain is Bosch on a serious deep undercover case. Dude, when I saw Titus Welliver in The Mandalorian, I was so excited. Like, I love... That's, like, my favorite episode in that season, first of all. It's a great episode. That was the one directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. And it has KT Sackhoff. KT, I have to say her name that way. I don't know why. As... her name is... Stab Lady. Shoot Woman. Bo-Katan. That's her name. Fucking Star Wars names are such nonsense. She's fantastic in it. And I honestly think that's the best episode in that season. But yeah, then Titus Welliver shows up as the captain of a Gozanti cruiser, which is something I never thought we'd get to see in live-action Star Wars. I like everything about that episode. She is, in fact, the Stab Lady, Daytoner. She has a stabber, and her arm has a stabber that comes out of it. Stab Lady is a perfectly legitimate description.
If you don't respect the cat, you're gonna get the bat.
The fuck am I talking about? Let's just keep going. Really though, this is such a huge relief. Amateur Paint Hour. I'm so glad that they found your models. I'm so glad you're gonna get to play in the event. You won't have lost anything. That's please post pictures of the event. I know that it can often be difficult to take pictures of an event that you're actually playing in. It's very easy to forget because you're caught up in playing the game. But please, for our sake, Amateur Paint Hour, set yourself like a timer. This is something I've found is helpful. On my phone, I'll set something where it's like a timer goes off every 30 minutes, and it just says take a picture, and just take a picture of something every 30 minutes. You'll get a nice progression through the game day. Oh, I was taking a poop, right, sister? Here we have from Manro Fasal, my word bearer's work in progress. Ooh, that red. Oh, I like this. Wait, word bearers? Hold on. Word bearers. Word bearers? Primaris Marines? With gray helmets and shoulder pads? Can someone explain this to me? What am I missing? Like, there's a few things that my brain is going, there's something not quite right here. Now, don't get me wrong. I love, like, the red is really, really hot. Flesh Terrors. Yeah, that makes more sense. If you were to say Flesh Terrors, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Flesh Terrors would have Primaris, they would have big fucking chainswords, and oh, you painted the wrong model. just confused the Primaris for a Chaos, is that what happened, Manro? I only ask because Word Bearers are one of my favorite chapters. Right up there, not chapters, legions. As much as I dislike modern Warhammer 40k, I am an old school Warhammer 40k fan, and there's some parts of it that I'll never let go of, and one of the things that I am a huge fan of are specifically the legions, the Thousand Sons, and Word Bearers, and then I guess the Imperial Fists were a legion, but also a chapter later on. Yeah. Warband at best now. Yeah, they got a lot of demon princes. I love this red. I fucking love this red. This red is hot. And I think that you've achieved this mostly by using some good, nice spot highlights of a pure red, very gently highlighted. You haven't moved too far into orange or into pink, and then mostly you've driven your shadows down real far. This is a great example of how to make colors pop with high contrast. Manor Fasal, this looks fantastic. Look at the abdominal plate. Look at how it jumps out at you. And it's not jumping out because it's any special color. It's a little orange, but barely. It's jumping out at you because the shadows on the rest of the abdomen are so dark. Same thing with this nipple over here. I'm sorry, edge of the pectoral. Yeah, Manro, this is work that is paying off, dude. Keep up this good work. This is one of the better reds I've seen on a Space Marine model. Do more of this. Manro Fasal, what you're doing here, do more of this and refine it a little bit more, dude. This looks amazing. I fucking love it. Wonderful work. Wonderful. That's Pro-Acryl? That's not surprising. Pro-Acryl has a really rich pigmentation to it. Coming down here we have from WJ, oh, it's not Agent Steele's day as Crazy Ivan Jubei and the Team Fortress 2 Red Team Pyro team up on her. Ooh, that sounds like a title you'd get for an internet video that we can't share here. It doesn't seem to be, because yeah, she's getting slashed and lit on fire simultaneously. Apparently I should play Evil Genius. I remember when this came out, and I never played it. But it very much seems like my sort of game. I really enjoyed, like, Dungeon Keeper. And I assume that Evil Genius is fairly similar to Dungeon Keeper in many ways, but I can't really confirm that. Ah, Dungeon Keeper. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Bullfrog. These are dark times. I'm gonna take a look at that after the stream. I think I'd probably enjoy Evil Genius. Coming down here we have from Kursala, World's Driest Enchiladas Part 2, The Wettening. Oh, what a title. They sure went swimming this time. Ooh, melty cheese. Oh my. Oh. We're most of the way through the storm report, so this is good, because I would fucking destroy that entire pan. I would. I don't have any snacks or I would eat them right now. 2 of the monsters had no regrets. Yeah. That's looking mighty fine, Kursala. Fucking ravenous is what I'm gonna be in a minute. Why'd you have to go and pick something that I like really like? My mouth is literally watering. Like, oh, I gotta do something with this. They're also packed nice and thick. About double the meat as a normal one. Oh, God. Oh, these fucking enchiladas are gonna blow your mind. Here we have from Roland working a little bit on that Mad Cat, it looks like, in the Clan Hell's Horses. The work that you're doing on the cockpit glass, I think, is starting to really show progress, Roland. We've got a little bit of a gradient. Now, I want you to do more, but I'm noticing a little bit of a gradient from light to dark across the cockpit. This is one of the first times I've seen you do a gradient from right to left as opposed to center outward, and I think it really works well. It might have just been the way that you applied contrast, but this is something to try more as you work. Nice clean brushwork on this. Good work on the panel lining. I like the little bit of silver to break up the big amounts of green. I particularly like the choice of the leg panels for the red coming down here on the... It's not a summoner, it's a Loki? It's a Loki. Right? It's a Loki. Yeah. Tom Hiddleston. Yes, I got it right. Hooray! I always confuse the Loki and the Summoner. The only reason I remember the Summoner is because each of them have one arm that's the same, and then the Summoner has the one goofy arm in the opposite. The Summoner is like it's like a fucked up Thunderbolt, basically. Yeah, I know, Project Dark Fog. Really, only one of them is right because the clanners don't get to name things. If we let the clanners start naming things themselves, we'll never get rid of them. Really nice. Some of the cleanest work I've seen you do, Roland. I want to know what you're going to be doing for basing. You've got a good number of Hell's Horses now, and I think that getting them all together with some unifying basing would really make for a good photo. Lovely work. Loki's the Sudoku Clan Warhammer Omni. Yeah, I guess it is closer to a Warhammer, isn't it? That's both in design and function. Here we have from Rio. I've been quiet because I'm right over here. In a jet? You're on a jet? You going someplace? Wait, what's going on here? What am I looking at exactly? Something about this strikes me as not quite right. Probably that rust red color and some autumn colored flock. I think that would be a good balance for the green in particular. Yeah, it looks like it's a tomcat, but something about it is... Maybe it's just the paint job that's throwing me off from the shape? Maybe it's the angle, that the wings look like they're folded back even further than they usually go. I don't know. Maybe that's it, Roland. Maybe it's the engines. Yeah. That's possible. Because my brain is going Tomcat, and then there's something about it is just not quite clicking for me. Yeah, maybe it's the fact that there's a UPS building right next to it. I'm not sure what it is about it. Because, yeah, I'm used to the intakes being a bit more than that. They look off to me. Anyway. It's a lovely photo, Project Dark Fox, and I'm glad to see you getting out there, man. Getting outside these last 2 years, getting outside, getting around doing things has just been such a damn challenge. Project Dark Fox, thank you for sharing your excursion with us. I'd love to know more where you are, what you're doing. Rio, God, I'm sorry, not Project Dark Fox, Rio. Project Dark Fox has been here the whole... Guys! Okay. Look, from now on, Rio and PDF are the same person, and Machine God and Zombie Brush are also the same person, okay? We're gonna call them Thunderhead Mixers. They're a special kind of composite person that only exists in chat, okay? I was gonna wait to unveil the truth of this bold new step into forgetfulness, but since you forced my hand, that's what we're doing. Here we have from Asri. I was gonna show the multiple angles and better resolution of the Caradon display board, but alas, I didn't have time to put them all into a single picture, so instead, you get tacos. Motherfuckers are just hammering me with tacos today. Tacos and enchiladas. What are you trying to do to me? This looks amazing. Oh my god. Oh, the cilantro and the onions, and they look so greasy. Oh. I can't get good tacos anymore. I really can't. But this is the Beast Wars. Thunderhead would have just introduced Fusors. Yeah, there we go. We'll all combine into a great big devastator. I mean, yeah, I believe it. I believe it, Azray. Thank God someone's actually making dinner right now, and I don't have to go make dinner like I did for the last week or so. That was crazy. Here we have from Boobies McGiggle Shits. Wait, hold on. Alien from Wild West Exodus added the impaled guy. A little hard to read the outlines and the pics. CNC if there's time. If not, no worries. Let's have a look. I really like this. Like, I really like this. The kind of reddish purple for the carapace overall, balanced against the kind of blue-gray on the claws, with the fade from the tip down to the... like, oh... If I'm giving CNC on this, if I'm looking at this model, first of all, this is really, really well painted. I love the look of this entire figure. I think the color choices are great. If I'm giving CNC on this, if I'm finding things that I think are wrong that I would change, I would reverse the gradient on the claws. Maybe not on the claws that he's running on, but on his hand claws. I think I would reverse that gradient so that it's darker. So that it's darker here, up towards where it connects, because this blends together a little bit. Even though we've got cool and warm, we could use a little more contrast here. So I would do the dark part up here and the light part out towards the tip. I would do something else with the eyes. Right now the eyes blend in. I would do the eyes in green. And that's fair, WJ. I'm just talking as far as composition goes, because, and maybe it's because of the environment that it's taken in, but if you put the light part out towards the tip, or if you do a heavier edge highlight out towards the tip, it's going to make this pop more, so that you've got light, dark, light that way. I think that would work well. Pink, hot pink, yes, something vibrant. I don't know if I'd go with pink because we've got purple for the carapace, which, by the way, this is awesome. The purple on the carapace with the real dark midnight purple shading, like, that looks fucking great. I feel like green for the eyes, something a little more vibrant, something that's going to stand out more, because the yellow is blending into the yellow tone of the skin right now, as it is. I might shade darker where the teeth connect to the gums, just to separate, because they're very similar colors, and I get that you have, like, the yellowed teeth. So I have two thoughts on that. Either shade darker yellow or brown where the teeth connect to the gums, so that you have a fade going from dark to light out towards the tip of the teeth, or do the teeth in the same color as the claws. One of those two would make them pop a little bit more. Yeah, hot pink for the gums, that would also work, WJ. I like that. You've done a lot right here. Like, the technique on display here is fantastic. I think most of the choices you've made are really, really great. This is one of those models that's just like, man, it's right on the cusp. It's right on the cusp where a couple of small changes could make it truly phenomenal. I think that using the eyes as a focal point for something, I want to do green. Green is what speaks to me. Blue could work, I feel like green. I'd love to see what the base is going to be. I feel like a little bit more work on the claws just to make them pop more. Like I said, consider reversing the gradient. Honestly, just try it on like one claw and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, change it back. And then a little bit more work on the teeth. I think you'll be right there. And I'd be very curious to see how this is going to get based. This is, does water washable resin come out of clothes? Manmur Fasal, yes. Put it in the washer, don't shine any sunlight on it, and it should come out. Just don't let any sunlight on it, get water on it, and rinse it the fuck out. It could potentially stain. My advice would just be wear clothing you don't care much about when you're handling chemicals, generally speaking. Boobies McGiggle Shits, that's a fucking great paint job, man. If you want to push that over the edge, it won't take much. Really, really nice. Here we have from Dr. Rhino, who has been working on a pretty amazing force of Custodes with custom helmets. I love all this custom basing that he's done with the jet bikes, using pieces of terrain to put them up off the bases and angled in interesting ways. Really, really nice work. Damn. This isn't like... Here's the thing. This is not the most flattering photo. Dr. Rhino, you chose an interesting picture. It looks like you jumped in right at the end and posted a picture. You didn't choose the best picture even of this model. Because I've seen other angles. I was just on Instagram not long ago. And man, these jet bikes are fucking phenomenal. All the custom work on them is great. I love the base. I want to see more. I want to see more of the bases you have these on, man, because this is some of the most impressive. WJ, stop asking that question. The answer is we make allowances. Or he's turning and it wrapped around the piece of terrain. Maybe, conceivably. The other answer I'll accept is shh. It doesn't actually make any sense, but we're just gonna go with it anyway. I was replacing the VAT film watching the storm report, and part I thought was dry just dribbled all over me. Oh no, man, Rofasol. Yeah, I think that Vergaderung has the right idea. Drop it in a bucket and scrub it out real quick. The answer is yes. The answer is imagination. This is that might not actually make the most sense, but for the sake of how amazing the base looks, we're definitely gonna let that one go. I love the teals and reds that we have in here on the armor, on the eyes. I love the warm shadows that he's worked into the fabric. Again, this shows up honestly better on some of the other pictures and models that he's done, but man, the warm shadows and the cool colors just gets me going every single time. Dr. Rhino, guys, really, if you're not following Dr. Rhino and you have any interest in 40K, go follow him, because he's been doing some of the coolest, most imaginative 40K projects I've seen in a long damn time. A long damn time. But that'll bring us to the end of tonight's Storm Report in time for me to get dinner before 10 p.m. How about that? That's kind of fucking amazing. As is tradition, the end of tonight's stream. Who are we rating? You gotta rate somebody. Who's doing what? Let's have a look. Kale Larson is going. Commander Mittens just got going. Thunderdome Drew. Is Thunderdome Drew painting? Let me see. 1 second. Let me take a look. Keyline Prime. Bongbarian. Alaric Kerensky. Thunderdome Drew working on some D&D. It looks like he is painting some Reaper figures. He just got started. He just got started, so we're gonna jump over there. Hell yeah. Let's get that started. Bing, bang, boom. Just like that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out tonight. It has been a relatively productive Tuesday. Tuesdays are not my best nights usually, but we got a good amount done. I'm probably gonna get some more work done on this after dinner. We had some amazing Storm Report submissions tonight, really, really impressive stuff. I don't know if limiting it has encouraged people to start thinking more about what they post. I don't know. Cast any judgments or any aspersions, but I really, really loved several of them. Thank you to everybody who posted tonight. I always love seeing your work in the Storm Report. As I've said numerous times, I think that it's important to get your work out there, to get it seen, and to get outside perspectives, not just from me, but from the people in chat. It can really help us kind of understand our own work and ourselves as artists. And a huge thank you to everyone who resubscribed tonight. We got a lot of resubs. You guys, you make this so easy on me. You make it such a pleasure to come out, such a pleasure to stream. We have so much more ahead. We're going to be doing this forever. We're going to stream for the rest of my life. No, maybe that's a little overcommitting. Maybe I'm committing too much. We'll dial that back. A huge thank you, as always, to my amazing mod team who make all of this possible. We'll be back on the 7th with more Conquest. On the 10th, we'll be doing single-figure focus, either Sanguinius or Darth Vader. TBD on next Tuesday. I'll let you guys know by next stream. I'm going to go get something to eat. Have fun at Thunderdome Drews. Until next time, keep on painting.